Hello and welcome to coverage of round 2 of the SRL-100 round season 3. I'm your host Gareth Allen, and let's start off by going over the results from last week. Of course, it was Rain who took the win after 50 laps of racing at Jeddah. Simpendale was hot on the tail on a fresh pair of mediums, well, a better pair of mediums than the soft. Hello, Tumpy, how you doing? Fence was in third, a remarkable drive from him, eventually landing him the driver of the day role. OS Degrees keeping cool under a lot of pressure, a lot of racing with the Hasses throughout. His Tango coming in 5th position last time out. That means that the driver standings is as follows. So it is Rain at the top, picking up fastest lap, 26 points for the Alfa Romeo team from Rain, another further 15 from Fence, who sits in 3rd position. Simpendale in the Alpine is in 18th, has 18 points in 2nd position. OS Degrees is in 4th, his Tango is in 5th. Blubber Bump wasn't really anywhere for most of the race, but thanks to no penalties and some good luck at the end, got into 6th position. And let's have a quick look at the constructors' standings. It is Alfa Romeo who lead at the top, 41 points for that team, and Alpine have second with 18 points. Ferrari only 2 points back. Let's see if AJ Sinden and OS Degrees can pick up some more points this week and propel themselves forward up in the standings. So things that are new this week. Of course, we're at Catalunya, Circuit de Catalunya. I think it's called Circuit de Barcelona-Catalunya now, which just doesn't flow at all. Barcelona, I think, paying a bit of money in sponsorship fees for the tourism board there. But it's roughly a 30 minutes drive northeast of the centre of Barcelona's track. And It is a 2.9 mile circuit, 4.6 kilometers, and it's not one of my favourite tracks. It really doesn't have any memorable corner names. Maybe turn 4, Repsol, of course, where we saw the crash from Lewis Hamilton and Nico Rosberg at the start of the 2016 race. Something we do have, though, for this week is picture-in-picture of Div 2 and Div 1 simultaneously happening. Look at that, counting down almost at the same time. And we will be popping into D2 throughout the race to see how it's going. But let's go back to D1 and keep all eyes on the first division, of course, where this will be in. Thank you to Sega, top-notch production, crap commentating. Please get in. Matusa says, please check Discord. I will check Discord. Oh, right, okay. That's fine, as long as you've got... let me just... Okay, well, I'm just reopening that now, Matusas. But we have some session going. Let's see. We'll have to force it in. So right, okay. Oh, I see what's happened here. Okay, that's fine. Barcelona, and I'll see what I can do about that mid-session. And Barcelona. I don't think it's actually gone in. So I think you're fine. But just turn it off, Matusas, or at least turn off autosync, and we'll be all good. So, so we have the start of quality coming up very soon, 22 seconds countdown, and very much looking forward to covering this one. It can produce some good racing. We'll see what the sessions look like, weather-wise, of course, and... qualifying 1 about to begin, and let's see if it's begun in Division 2. It has begun in Division 2, and it's about to begin here, so let's have this. $18 minutes of qualifying. 18 minutes of qualifying. Qualifying 1 here, of course, just seeing 4 cars get knocked out. Chonk has a penalty from last week and involved in 2 incidents, was awarded a minor and a major, and we'll be picking up. So NL Chris, there is no designated D2 stream at the moment, but I will be dipping in and out of the coverage at D2. What the hell was that blur about? Crikey, Moses and whatever. So I think Chonk just going out of the pits right now to do a bit of an installation lap, return to the pits, and remove himself from qualifying. We have Fade making his first appearance this season, the runner-up last year in the championship. Struggs returning to his purple helmet after the fish helmet fiasco last time out in Jeddah. It turns out everyone was had planned it for Abu Dhabi, but then I bailed on Abu Dhabi, so they changed it to Jeddah. So very much appreciate Den the Pool for roasting me like that. Let's say Temps left the session, so he'll need an invite back. HS Inden is close behind the McLaren of Matusas is coming out the lap, and it will be Struggs, last year's championship winner, who will be the first car here to set a lap, and we'll see what kind of pace can be put out here. And we have a new driver, of course, Mr. Mangler in P1, Cook Mangler. I don't know if I'll be banned for saying that. Saying Temps Wi-Fi is probably going to be terrible, not going to lie. So problems with Temps Wi-Fi coming from Mr. Wi-Fi himself. Fence, but we'll come around the final corner here at the Circuit de Catalunya to cross the start-finish line and start a lap. Let's get the telemetry enabled and have a good look at what Struggs is going to produce here as you rifle towards turn 1. It's a long way from the start-finish line to turn 1. Turns in, and he's fifth gear out of turn 2. The long right-hander of turn 3. You turn almost 180 degrees as you approach Repsol, and at the end of sector 1, it's a 22.338 through sector 1. So a good time already from Struggs out there on the soft tyre in this part of qualifying. There's a yellow through sector 2 and 3 as Struggs comes to the apex and the exit of turn 5, and then this is a very tricky set of corners, very loose on traction into turn 7 and up to 8, and then you crest the hill turn 9 Does he go flat out? No, not at this stage of the qualifying. Not flat out. Opens up the DRS and heads towards the reprofiled turns 10 and 11. Change for this game. Obviously, first time we raced this configuration in real life was last year in 2021. Before that, hadn't been changed since 2007 when they cut off this final corner here, which will be coming back in 2023, which is a very, very good thing. And they will be removing this tricky chicane, which Struggs just misses the apex of turn 14. That will compromise him all the way out onto the start-finish straight, but he comes over the line. It's a 118.177 from Struggs. So I think that is going to be close enough, I think, to getting through to the next part of qualifying. I think 118.1, 118.2, something like that will be good enough to get through, but we'll see as the times develop throughout the session. Fade goes faster, 3/10 faster than his teammate, both of the championship contenders last year, moving to the Aston Martin team. Blubber bump in the AlphaTauri, setting a 118.774 there, so decent lap time from him. Cook also out on a lap, but he has invalidated, so won't be setting a lap this time around. We have the McLaren of Matusas coming around the final corner. That's a 119.219. AJS Inden in the Ferrari. He's got into 4th position. Remember, this session all about missing out the final 4 drivers. Chonk has bailed, so yes, he of course has be serving his qualifying ban, so good to see him serving it, and he will be starting at the back from the race, much like Lewis Hamilton did in 2011. Of course, that race was when Pastor Maldonado, it's not in 2011, it's 2012, but of course when Pastor Maldonado took first row of the grid to Lewis Hamilton, qualified first, didn't return to the pits with an adequate amount of fuel required for an FIA fuel sample check, so was demoted all the way to the back of the grid. Removed from qualifying was his times, and that gave Maldonado a sensational and unlikely win. The only time that a Venezuelan has gone on the podium, has started from the front row of the grid and won a race. And the only other Venezuelan to drive in Formula 1 was Johnny Sasotto. So, yes, a good day for Pastor Maldonado. And then quickly the Williams team spontaneously combusted in the garage, and they had a massive pit fire. And then by Monaco the next weekend, they had to get a load of gear donated to them. It was typical Williams, really. First win in like 7 years, and it was their last win today. And they had a massive fire right afterwards in the pits. So Simpendal's gone up and put a 117.281 on the board. That is an absolutely sensational time, and I think he'll be able to come back into the pits. Who else is out there at the moment? Rain, our championship leader and winner last time out at Jeddah, yet to leave the pits today for a session. Captain Coolwine is coming through the final sector, and it is decent through the first and middle sectors, looking on to a 118 here. And Chris again cheering on his friend Simpendal, and around the final corner comes Captain Coolwine. He'll cross the line, looks like it could just dip into a 117. No, it's a 118.420, but good enough for 5th position. So Gaz MC is in 6th. Cook Mangler, he is in 10th position, and currently not improving on his time. I think he's been round twice on that set of softs, so not optimum times from him, but still a very respectable 119 on an old set of softs. Let's see if he can bring the pace in the race. His first debut, his debut outing in the league today. And Chris, wishing everyone good luck. And are you in the D2 race today? Let's have a quick look at what's going on in D2. This is our D2 mode. Oh, that's not actually visible at the moment. So who set a tight time? So 119 has been set by Geordie so far, and then we had a lot of people crash out. Why have so many people crashed out? That confuses me. And now Chris, why have you DNF'd from the session? Is that something going on with my stream, or the lobby's broken? Right, okay. So is it? I presume right, okay. Ben's internet went out. Okay, right. I see how it is. Could someone send me an invite to the D2 session? Thank you very much for the red flag update in that session. Let's get back to D1 while we're waiting for that to come around. Matusas on an out lap, coming around turns 3, just coming out of the pits. And Yes, I'll just quickly make sure to get an invite to that session. I think a lot of people are inviting me as we speak, which I appreciate massively. Of course, quite difficult for me to keep abreast of all the movements in both leagues, but we've had a red flag in that session, which is good. We can try and time it so we can watch both races at the same time. Now go in spectator mode in that one, and yeah, we can. It's probably half good that they're offset, but of course we have the 3-hour rule, so I'm sure it won't cost too much of anything, because our sessions can only last up until 11 p.m. GMT. Once it rolls past 8 p.m, our clock starts to roll. That's just in case of any serious delays to our games. I think we had a big one at Kota, which run maybe kind of 10 minutes past the hour of 11, and we felt like putting a time limit to our sessions, because everyone has work or school or commitments to be at the next day or later on Sunday, depending on where you are. Matusas coming around the final chicane now, penultimate corner and through the final corner, opening up his lap, putting the DRS flat open, actually running onto the grass a little bit there, the McLaren driver number 13, and I think he has got the correct number today, which is good to see. Yes, picking up number 13 from me. I used to race for 13 in the league back in the SRL-100, and Matusas saying he was born on the 13th day of the 13th night of the 13th minute of the 13th nanosecond, and something along those lines. And 13 is his lucky number. Rain has put it up into pole position, a 1:16.9 straight out the bat in this session, and yeah, wow. Wow. Okay. I think Rain's just got sensational pace. If he can keep it on the track this year, Simpendal will battle him all the way. You can already tell he's an absolute fighter from the first race in Jeddah, where he fought so hard throughout the race. But I think Rain is just in another category at the moment. He's almost esports level. Rain F1, and yeah, very much an upper echelon driver. So who else is out there? Patrick MG. It's actually Patrick MG's first outing in the SR100 as well. Teammate of Matusas, not able to make it last week because of the work commitments. He's coming around the final corner to open up a lap now, so we'll see how he does. And Matusas, I don't think improved on his time last time out, so we watched the start of that lap. Did not improve last time out. Must have made a mistake through the second and third sectors. I wonder if he actually maybe missed, yeah, about a tenth off in both the second and third sector. Rain returning to the pits as it stands. Patrick MG is coming through Repsol now. Turn 4, this long banked right-hander cresting the hill down towards turn 5. Braking slightly earlier than you expect to because it's downhill. Now on the exit it's downhill again, so a little bit loose on traction sometimes, and this set of corners is very, very undulating, catches you off guard really easily, and up to turn 9 he goes. Patrick is looking to do well here. He's already got a 1:18.3 on the board, so showing he can absolutely pace it with the big boys in the league, and he's 2 tenths down on his time through the first and middle sectors, losing a tenth in both the first sector and the middle sector. Can he find any time and improvement through the final part of this session? I have half a feeling he's safe already, but we have 6 minutes left, and he comes back to the pit deciding not going to improve his time there, probably using an old set of softs too, actually, because they are a certain percentage worn, so he is not going to be able to go faster. Alpha Integral, I think, is on a outlap here. Fades retired from the session, decided that his time is enough at this point of the session. I think a 1:17.8 is probably safely through. As I said, my cut-off time is a 1:18. I think the 1:18 is way too high for Q1, actually. I think I've absolutely butchered that one. I haven't butchered it. AJ has. AJ gave me these ones before the race. Mr. Riz gave me these, so I think a 1:18, maybe a little bit too high. Let's say a 1:18.4, maybe the cut-off time for the top 15 here. We've seen Fence yet to set a time, Temp yet to set a time. Temp does set a time, does he there? Yes, he goes up into 8th position. So a good time there. 1:18.4 is exactly what I was saying the cut-off time is. So he may have to go again. I don't know if he'll be able to get in and out of the box in time. He, of course, missed the first part of qualifying because of a disconnection. AGS Inden also improving on that lap up to a 1:18.497. That's only good enough for 11th position at this point in time. But he went faster through the middle sector and lost a bit of time actually out of the final sector, just a 10th. But that 10th could have put him nicely up into the top 10. Such as the fine margins in the motorsport. If you have any clips that you want to take a clip of at Twitch. I'll maybe put it into a YouTube Shorts. There's no promises, but I'm hoping to do that. Let's have a quick look what's going on in the other session. We have actually just started Q1 in that other session, so if I go on to there and make the set the detail to be the right thing at least, then I can jump back in there a little bit later on, and there's actually only one car out on track in that session, and it is Dale in the Ferrari, so we will keep an eye out on how he's going to do, but switch back to D1 for the closing moments of this qualifying session. The Ferrari of AGS Inden will be returning to the pit in a moment. OS Degrees out there coming through Repsol, and I think Matusas is going again. He's coming to the final set of corners, so let's keep an eye out on Repsol, on Matusas. Blubberbump is pushing through the middle sector, so up to turn 9, crest the hill, maybe uses a bit too much of the inside curb there. He's a 10th up through the first sector. How is he doing through the middle sector? Oh, he's a little bit down, so he's lost about a 10th and a half through that middle sector there. We saw him have just a little mistake through turn 9, and Blubberbump really in danger here of falling out of this qualifying session. And I wonder what he's going to feel about that. He is, of course, the SRL-100 champion from last time out, and certainly has the pace at certain tracks to fight up there with the top. And he goes into 14th position. It's a 1:18.544, but very much at danger. Only good enough for 14th position. Denner Paul's on an outlap. Mr. Mangler, he's coming through the final corner, so he'll be going okay. Matusas is on another lap, coming into the middle sector. He's 8 tenths quicker, so this could be a big step up the board here, maybe encroaching on the top 10. And Matusas has gone 5 tenths quicker through the first sector, 3 tenths through the middle sector. Let's see if he can find any time through this final tricky, fiddly sector. Such a change in pace compared to the other two sectors, low speed corners, and it's a real mixture of corners. He's up into 8th position. I think that is relative safety for Matusas. I don't think he'll be going any further down. In fact, AGS Inden is the lowest car not to go out onto pits. No, he has gone on to an outlap now. So let's see who else decides to go out there. But I think that's relative safety for Matusas up into 8th position. OS Degrees is coming through the final sector. He's improved on his time by a 2 tenths and a half through the middle and second sectors, and OS Degrees currently sitting in 14th at the moment, so needs to improve. Has found a 10th in both the first and second sectors. Very nice and tidy through the penultimate set of corners, and as he comes to the line, it's going to be a 1:18.26 up into 4th position. That is enough for him to be safe. Next is, Denner Paul has crashed. He's crashed through the first sector. So Denner Paul, I think, is going to be out of this session in 17th position. I don't think Denner Paul is going to be able to improve. Cookmangler is, I don't think he's going to have time to improve as well. So I think making a mistake on his last lap did Mr. Mangler, and he found time through the middle sector, but just did not improve enough to get out of there. And who was that just gone over the line? I think it was Fence. So Fence has gone into a 1:17.790. That puts Blubberbump at pressure, and he's in the pit, so he won't be improving. Gaz MC is out there on the lap. He's on the bubble, and he's coming to the final set of corners, and he's going faster. 2 tenths through the first 2 sectors game from Gaz MC. Can he get himself to security? Yes, up into 6th. Next is AGS Inden, who is out there on the lap as we speak. So he is just starting a lap, 3 tenths faster through the first sector. No, he was 3 tenths. He's already done a lap. So, no. He's just a little bit down in the first sector. But truth be told, I don't know if anyone will have time to get another lap in out of these bottom lot. Denderpool will come again. So Denderpool does have one final shot to get himself out there, as long as he didn't pick up any wing damage, but I don't think he did. So he will have a final shot at getting himself out of the bottom few. AJ Sinden has backed out of his lap, so very much under pressure, and he said he was going to struggle with qualifying. And so coming over the line, Cookmangler also makes it. So it could be AJ Sinden and Girion Tor who are under pressure here. Girion Tor's on the lap, but not improving through the first sector. So Girion Tor very much is under pressure here. It could be Girion Tor and AJ Sinden who's knocked out in the final part of this qualifying session. Blubberbump is already out. Cookmangler has spun it at turn 3, so Cookmangler won't be improving. So Girion Tor is safe. Denderpool is the car who could improve, and he's 4 tenths down through the first sector. So Denderpool looks to have missed his chance already. I think AJ Sinden can start to breathe a sigh of relief that he can get through into Q2 by the skin of his teeth for that Ferrari team. And Denderpool coming through the second sector split. Where is he now? He is still 5 tenths down, so he's faster, just a little bit slower through that middle sector. He's going to need to find a big lot of time here. He's going to need to find 3 or 4 attempts to get out of Q1 here, and I don't think the Haas driver is going to do it. He doesn't seem absolutely on it. Made a mistake on his first lap. Maybe he did pick up just a small amount of damage or something along those lines, but Denderpool crosses the line, and it's going to a 118, a 119. He's out of the session. It is Blubberbump, Cookmangler, Denderpool and Chonk out in Q1. Both Mercedes cars failing to make it through to qualifying 2. And that is a turn up for the books for the Mercedes team. I think both will be disappointed with that. Chonk, of course, with that qualifying ban, it would be interesting to know what his pace was. He'll be coming from the back alongside Denderpool right at the back of the grid. Those two have had clashes before, including last weekend. 2 clashes at Jeddah, so hopefully they can keep it clean through turn 1. It is certainly going to be interesting to say the least here. What can be done? So yes, that was exciting. We will just get a little bit of a glimpse of what's going on in this session, and then we'll have a flick over to D2 and see what's going on. So I'd just like to, as race director for the SRL-100 D1, I like to just get all of this information on stream. So that is all of that information, race director and the drivers, how many tyres they used and how many incidents they used. Just good to have those stats down, and we can we can move on to the next qualifying session. But let's jump over into D2, of course, and ride on board. What is the lay of the land at the moment? Many cars out there on times. I think it's only Scholarbull who has a qualifying ban, but not here this weekend, so he'll have to share that next weekend. Very many congratulations to Dead and the Bull getting married this weekend, and I hope they've had a fantastic time, those two. But yeah, let me know if the sound is the same and okay, consistent between both divisions. I did a little bit of testing beforehand, but it's hard to tell. NL Chris is the car who's pushing on a lap at the moment through the middle sector up at turn 9. The Aston Martin driver, big fan of Simpendal in the chat, of course, and he is coming to the middle sector split. It's a 52.8 through the middle sector, and he's on a pair of softs here, so he'll be looking to improve. Currently Ben, Sol and Pallinut. Pallinut's an absolute legend. Do you know Pallinut races on a keyboard? What an absolute mad lad. And he's up in third position at this moment in time in this division. Be interesting to see what kind of pace he can put in. I don't think Kenneth looks like he's here. So Kenneth, our race winner last time out, not here. NL Chris comes around the final corner. It's going to be a 1:19.566. That's enough for 7th position for NL Chris. So good stuff. But yeah, let's see what's going on here. And just what else? Who else is out on a lap in this division? Prib coming into the pits. I think it'll be Fox who's just going over the line there. That's the other Aston Martin. DeSargo into 5th position. He's on 19.3. So we'll transfer back over to the racing in Division 1, trying to keep an eye out on what's happening in both divisions, and we'll try and come back in roughly 8 minutes' time to see who is being knocked out of that qualifying session. But of course, we have racing going on in both divisions at the same time. If you're looking to join a racing league, Syndicate Racing. You can't go any further than that. Great community. We have weekly TT events every single day. Every single day we have casual lobbies, or most days, let's admit. And of course we have the SRL-100 Division 1 and Division 2 simultaneously run at 8 p.m. GMT every Sunday. So we have Spain this weekend. We have Imola and a sprint race next time out. And then we'll have a couple of weeks off for Christmas. Yeah, exciting to see Fence come round the final corner here and start his lap. Fence, who finished third last time out in Jeddah, performing very, very well and hoping to have a bit of consistency. Always had problems with his Xbox One console previously and his Wi-Fi, so if he can get on top of his Wi-Fi issues, I don't see any reason why Fence couldn't be a consistent point scorer this year and possibly a consistent top 5 scorer. Through the first sector he goes. Let's get it's a 22-3 through the first sector, so decent from him there. And let's see how he performs through the middle sector. We have, of course, another qualifying session at the moment, and it is only 15 cars through this time, and it is very close. I honestly don't. I could make a call who I think is going to go through. Shimpendal and Rain. I honestly think everyone else is under pressure. Everyone else is under pressure to get through into this top 10 shootout. And I think Fence is probably one of the ones who would like to get through a little bit of a moment out of turn 12 there. Just not getting on the power nice and smoothly. And all over the curbs here. And a little bit sketchy through 14 and RAC of 15. And this is going to be a 1:18.5. So a decent time from Fence there, but I feel he can go quicker, and that's looking around the cut-off time. It's a 1:17.7 for Temp, so into the 1:17.7s for the Williams driver, and good to see he's recovering from his Wi-Fi issues that plagued him in the first session. It's Fade, he's setting a 1:18.2. Gaz MC set a 1:18.5, and it's Rain who set a 1:17.3. We've seen him go quicker though, so he will be a bit annoyed about that. Probably running used tyres, and I think he was, and I think so was Fence. So Fence and Rain running a used set of soft tyres in that session, and yeah, absolutely not on their best form because they're running an old set of tyres. OS Degrees still in the pits. He's just coming out of the pits now in the Scarlet Ferrari, the number 98 Ferrari driver, starting his 31st race. I'm just going to tell you, every time he's raced in every single SRL-100 event. So has Captain Rainbow Fox in the other division. So two of the drivers who've raced every event. Of course, last season and the season before, Captain Rainbow Fox, OS Degrees were teammates. OS Degrees got a new teammate now though, AGS Linden, who performed quite well at Jeddah, got a top 10 finish last time out despite not being able to put in much practice starting from the back after making a mistake in qualifying and being it out. So he started from the back and cruised through the first few corners, picked up a whole heap of positions after we had that big wipeout at turn 3. And I expect some half-decent things from OS Degrees here today. He, of course, won last time we visited the Circuit de Catalunya in Spain, near Barcelona, just 30 minutes northeast of the city. And he won through Z-Man getting a drive-through, but he was very, very consistent. He was Mr. Consistency, let's say, and that's what gave him the race win in all the way back in the first division. I think I wasn't racing that weekend because I was getting married. So it's something in the air about Spain that makes drivers miss it through weddings. So OS Degrees comes over the line. We have Rain has retired from the session. He's quite happy with his 1:17.1, 1:17.3. He doesn't think that is going to be beaten. I've said the cutoff. Well, AJ has said the cutoff for Q2 is going to be a 1:17.3. So that is right on the bubble. Whether that's on the cutoff or not, we'll see. We haven't seen many cars go that much quicker. And I think the pace is a little bit slower than where we thought it would be at this point in time as OS Degrees comes out of turn 5, pushing through this middle sector and down turn 6. Kind of a non-turn 6, I say that, up through 7 and 8, then cresting this turn 9, a little bit of a lift on the entry, missing the apex, so not perfectly on top of that corner, but decent nonetheless. A 52.190 is the first and second sectors combined, and OS Degrees, I think he's got some okay pacey. I think this may be a 118-ish kind of lap, and DeSego saying cut off probably a 118.4, 118.5. That's possibly what it could be, but OS Degrees comes over the lap, around the final corner, comes over the timing beam, and it's a 118.4, so up to 6th position. And I don't disagree with you, actually, DeSego. I do not disagree with you there. And let's just have a quick look at qualifying 1 in Division 2, and who is currently on the bubble. It is Prib, Swinblaze, Prib, Mr. Borbaggery, Rugriff, Captain Rainbow Fox, and Rugriff making his first reserve appearance for the Division 2 team. He, of course, was a full-time driver back in the seasons 1 and 2, and it's actually Rugriff who is pushing through there. So let's see what kind of time he can pull out there. The Alpha Toy driver, I almost said Aston Martin. Of course, actually a race winner back in season 1 at Portugal, Rugriff, and he started his first season in McLaren, then moved to Aston Martin for season 2, and now reserving for AlphaTauri today. And he is certainly on the bubble, and a 125.80. So hopefully he can improve here through the middle sector. IBM's retired from the session. He's actually first. And speaking to IBM before the race, he said to me that he was expecting good things here. And Rugriff is coming through the middle sector. He's not improving, so Rugriff going to be at the back of D2 here, showing that it takes a lot of skills to even be in the top 2 divisions here, because I don't think Rugriff has been able to put in the biggest amount of time recently. Captain Rainbow Fox yet to set a lap, so the pressure is absolutely on for him. And we'll come back in just a little bit of a moment's time and see who is out on a lap in D1. Of course, this is the main coverage for the racing is D1, and Simpendal set a 116.7. So Simpendal is into first place. Temp has retired from the session, so Temp thinks a 117.7 is enough. Okay, so you start to get a complexion of where you think maybe the cut-off time actually is. If people are thinking 117.7s are enough, Strug's out there currently on a lap, and I think he's out of a lap at the moment, and Rain saying Simp wasted a fresh set, what a lad. Yep, so Simpendal did actually go out there on a fresh set of tyres, and certainly I don't know if he'll call it wasting it, but yeah, whatever. Keji is on a lap at the moment. This is Division 1 of the SRL-100, round 2 at the Circuit de Catalunya. Coming around turn 9 is Keji, the Red Bull driver. Crashed out last week. So did Strug. So did Gaz MC right at the end of the race, not making it to the finish line after 50 laps and 26 corners. He crashed out at the last turn. After maybe a little bit of contact between him and AGS Inden, but it is very disappointing for him that all 3 drivers will be looking to bounce back from poor results. Keji comes around the final corner, and through the first 2 sectors he's been up 2 tenths and a half, and he goes into 10th position, up into 6th. So a good time, 117.8 from him, and Alpha Integral's put a 117.6 in. Simpendal can probably retire as well, knowing that he's safe, but I think Temp is going to be maybe not safe with 117.7. I certainly wouldn't feel as confident as he does, and interesting to see that. Captain Rainbow Fox has gone up and put in a position time up to 9th position, and in this session it's only Mr. Borbaggery who could improve, so I think it's going to be Rugriff and Wall123 are out, and Mr. Borbaggery, his spins, commentator's curse at turns 12, and those 3 are knocked out of that one, of course, running a little bit behind after a lobby moment in the first session. So, bit problematic for him, but I think he'll be disappointing, the Alpine driver there, and of course only 1 Alpine driver on the grid after Joker missed the what's it called? Tempe. That's that is a lot of faith. That is a lot of faith. 117.7. I wouldn't have that faith. Not at all. So Who's out there on a lap? Fade's currently out on a lap. He's going 2.5 tenths faster through the first sector alone. The Aston Martin driver currently sitting in 9th position, so he's certainly on the bubble here in qualifying 2. And it will be interesting to see if Fade can do anything here. If he has the pace to maybe go above temp. Because I have a feeling that Fade could go above temp. He's only 5 tenths off at the moment, and he's 5 tenths through the first and second sector. So 5 tenths of improvement has been found. If he can find anything in the final sector, this could be pushing temp down, and temp could be starting to feeling sweaty. I think everyone from Struggs downwards will go out again for laps. We have 3 minutes left in the session. Captain Coolwine coming through the first sector. OS Degrees also coming through the first sector on laps. Fade coming around the final corner, keeping a very, very tight line out of there, and he's up into 5th position behind temp. So I think temp is going to feel smug with that one. It was 3/100ths of a second behind for Fade, and we see a number of cars come out of pits. I think Keji, one of those cars. So is AJ Sinden, down in 50 possessions, coming out of pits. Number 21 in the Ferrari car. Fence has crashed. Fence has crashed through the first couple of corners. Why? Oh, he's retired on track. That's a weird one. I don't think he needed to retire on track here. Let's see what his car is going to do. But Fence has made a mistake through the first few corners. I think maybe he made a mistake at turn 1 and he's just retired from the session. And oh, that's really frustrating. His car taking out all of the polystyrene things. I invalidated it even though I didn't cross the finish line. Okay. Well, you can't just... there was no need to DNF on track, Fence. Is what I was saying. If someone else says that, they'd probably have a fair claim for a shout there. You don't need to... but anyway... so you didn't even cross the line in the invalidate apparently, so maybe invalidated out the final few corners. Fence is going to be out of the session, so the AlphaTauri started 10th last weekend, went up to the 3rd position, will be looking for another fight back drive. Captain Coolwine has improved, but only to a 1:18.0, and I think the cut-off time is going to be about a 1:18 here. It's going to be very, very tight. We have Patrick, Matusas, Gaz MC high on money, and AJ Sinden coming around the final corner now. Actually, AJ Sinden starting his lap, the Ferrari driver, and we have a few cars out there at the moment. A little bit of traffic just in front, actually, so hopefully those will clear out of the way, but they'll be kind of against the Glock themselves, I think. I think Matusas, who's just left the pits, is absolutely going to have to push on this outlap to even make it to the line. He's down 11th, so does need to make it. Gaz MC coming around the final corner. He looks to be improving, is he? Yes. No, he's not improving. He's not improving. He's starting a lap. Okay, right. So, don't need to get overhyped. OS Degrees has gone up into 4th position. He'll be returning to the pits. Fade is out of the session. He is down in 6th, so he is very much a driver at danger here. Captain Coolwine also very much at danger, down in 9th position. Patrick just coming around on his outlap, so is Matusas going to be pushing all the way to the line here. ADS Inden will be one of the next cars to come over the line to start their lap. Struggs actually will be the... that'll be start the lap. So ADS Inden will be the next car to actually come over the line and start the laps. And it's... what is it? What's that for... Girion Tor, is he just starting a lap? Girion Tor just starting a lap. AJ Sinden through the final set of corners. He's 4 tenths faster here, so this could put him up into P10. Will it be enough to get him out of pressure here? And he's only up to 12, so AJ Sinden out of this session unless he goes for another lap time. I think Matusas did just make it around, and I think there has been a spinner out of the final corner, and that looks to be Keji, who's actually missed the line here, and he is down in 8th position, hasn't improved, and I think Keji will be very much struggling here. He will be under pressure if there's any improvement. One car's behind. Gaz MC does cross the line, and he is up into a 1:17.8, so he is only up to there, so I think this is going to be very difficult here, and Patrick MG... if he is improving on his lap, which he is, that will put pressure on Captain Coolwine, and I think maybe a little bit of pressure on Gaz MC2. Maybe Keji could also get knocked out here. It's all up for grabs. Coming around the final corner, the McLaren driver on his debut. Does he get into the top 10 shootout? Provisionally, he does just get into 10th place. That knocks Captain Coolwine down into 11th. Matusas has spun. So he won't be improving. It's AGS Inden going for broke, but I think he's already set a time. So I don't think he's improving here, and he certainly doesn't look to be improving. So I think that is the bottom 4. Captain Coolwine, Giri on tour, Matusas, AGS Inden, and Fence at the bottom. And OS Degrees says, don't ask me where that lap came from. I'm just as confused as you. I think it was a good time. I'm not confused at all, OS Degrees. I've got absolute belief in my, You're me if I carried on pushing in the league. That's what I like to tell myself. Despite you not thinking I'm a Division 1 driver. What's going on in that other qualifying session? Not much. It's only 10 minutes to go in Q2 in Division 2. So let's switch back over to Div 1. If you want to tell which one I'm looking at, it'll be very obvious if it's the split view. Div 1 is in the bottom left-hand corner, and Div 2 is in the bottom left-hand corner for the respective streams. So that is Q2 wrapped up, and let's have a look here at who has been knocked out. So Captain Coolwine for the Williams Racing Team, he'll be starting 11th. Giri on tour in 12th. Matusas in 13th. Car number 13 starting in 13th position. AJS Sinden in 14th and Fence in 15th. And knocked out by 0.003 of a second, as Captain Coolwine points out. That is splitting hairs at the end of qualifying 2 here. And it really does show the level of competition in this league just to get through to it. And thank you very much for the subscription, AJ. Appreciate that massively. If you don't follow us already, a follow is also massively appreciated. You get the Schumacher happiness. And yeah, awesome. We are about to start qualifying 3. I didn't do the qualifying 2 tune. Oh no, it doesn't matter. So qualifying 2 just about to kick off here. And we will see who will take pole position for the round 2, the Spanish Grand Prix. So Simpendale's got one less set of fresh softs, as Rain pointed out. He went out and saved a set of soft tyres by not going out on them, going on a used set for his qualifying run in Q2. So he has lots of fresh sets, and we have already a bit of action in the pit lane. Simpendale looking to leave the pits. The Williams driver of Temp, who did make it through, leaving the pits at the front of the line. I think the Aston Martin of Fade will be looking to race around Temp. Let's see how these two push each other on this outlap and see what both drivers want to do. Do they want to be the first car out on track? I think both cars will just push, and I think maybe Fade just going to drop down a little bit here and give a little bit of space to his teammate. I've almost said teammate because it's a Williams car, but giving a little bit of space to his competitor here, and will just drop back. So I think it will be Temp who will set the first lap time here, and he's got the Koi helmet, so that's at least a fish helmet you can tolerate because it meets FIA standards. Who do people think is going to get pole position? Do I need to ask, or should I ask? If I had my money on anyone, it'd be OS Degrees. Pressure on. So Alpha Integral. Yeah. So Rain is going to with a 16.2, say JJ, and Dutch is backing Simpendale. And Rugriff pointing out the unfair aerodynamic advantage of the Koi helmet. Yeah, possibly it could do. Maybe we need to ban anyone who runs any kind of fish type helmet. As they come over the line, it's Dutch, so he backing Simp, but Temp is going to be first car out there on a lap here in this qualifying 3 session. We have 10 minutes on the clock, down to Q1, missing the apex there a little bit. The driver from the south of the United States, I don't know what his flag is. What is his flag? He'll tell me afterwards. But I certainly put him down as what is his flag? I can't remember what his country is. That's really annoying me. Turn 5 he goes for anyway. This hairpin left. And thank you very much for the subscribe as well, Captain Coolwine. Absolutely appreciate that. Obviously, any money raised from Twitch will go towards supporting the server's bots and maintenance fees and all that stuff. Just a little bit loose on through turn 9 there goes Temp, and Temp not maybe on the perfect lap that he would like as a banker lap on this lap, but we'll have to see as he comes through turns 11 and 12 how he does through this final sector. It's actually Simpendal who's fastest out there at the moment, but actually Captain Coolwine goes even faster through the first sector by half a tenth. So Captain Coolwine bringing some of the pace through the first sector. Temp crosses the line. That's a 1:17.746. Next over the line will be Fade. He goes into first position. 1:17.731. Only 1/100th quicker, but that's enough. Simpendal, a 1:16.691 from Simp. Good time from him there. Shows he's been sandbagging a little bit through the other qualifying sessions. Alpha Integral is going through turn 1. Keji out at the final corner here. We saw him make a mistake in the last qualifying session, but he goes up into second position. Gaz MC is coming around the final corner now, and he crosses the line. He is going to be only good enough for 5th at the moment. A 1:18.386. He'll be disappointed with that one. And then we see Rain coming around the final corner, and can he go faster? It's a 1:16.732, so Rain missing out in the first round here, but Rain, not quite as fast as he has been. I think he's been faster in other sectors. Patrick goes into 6th position, a 1:17.779 for Patrick. And let's see what let's see what OS Degrees can do in this qualifying session. He goes quite quick through the first sector. I don't think it was absolute fastest as it made a Goku, a 22.356. Actually, we've seen faster times than that, so OS Degrees will be a little bit disappointed with that. And I can't actually see what Rain. Oh, I said Captain Coolwine, but for some reason you're not. No, Captain Coolwine isn't in the session, so I don't know what hell I was saying. Captain Coolwine is basically last week we had Crablogger be picked from as Rain in my telemetry. It's Captain Coolwine this week, so yeah, have to see why that is. Anyway, so OS Degrees is pushing Fear, and it's Alpha Integral. He's at a 1:18.491, so he's down in 8th. Strug's also out there on a lap at the moment, pushing through the middle sector. And Temp's time is 1:17.746, and Temp through the first sector. I don't have his sector times, but yes, right, okay. So Strugs coming around this final set of corners. The Aston Martin driver, obviously our championship winner last time out in the second season, crosses the line. He's gone good enough for 4th position. So a decent initial lap from him, and we have everyone who set a lap in this session. Let's see in D2 what's going on in D2. We have 3 minutes left to qualifying 2 in there, so we'll pop over a little bit later just to see what times are being done in that session in 3 minutes, just before we have the final lull. I think OS Degrees only a 1:18 last time out. He did a faster time right at the end there, a 1:17.6 I believe, and I think he'll be hoping to get into that top 5 bracket on his second run. We'll see if there's any track improvement in that session. There's no forecast of rain for the rest of qualifying here, and very excited. I'm very excited to see who could get pole now. Simpendal's made it interesting, right? Simpendal has made it interesting. Rain, what happened in your lap? Or did Simpendal just outpace you? That's what I'm going to ask. Did Simpendal just outpace you? Q2, Div 2, 119 looks to be... it's like a 119... 4, it's not 19-2 or something like that. It's so competitive in Div 2. Like, the leader only has 7 temps over 10th position, so I think it's going to be a 119-4 along those lines to get out of Q2 in Div 2. We'll come back to that just a little bit of a time. Rain says the last chicane is twat. Crab, you need to get a red streak hoeing your face down. You need to get a red streak going down your face. What, like what do you mean? Like that? Or like a white streak like Toast of London? Stephen Toast? I have no idea what you're saying. Like Like Kratos. Right, okay. Decent. I wouldn't mind being Kratos. Kratos for a day. Boy. So we have a bit of a lull in qualifying in Div 1. No one out on track in that session, so best keep an eye out on D2, where we have a minute and 20 seconds left in qualifying. And who is on the bubble? Soul Collector is on the bubble. Let's pop over fully into D2. So Soul Collector on the bubble, and he's not going to get around for another lap. So Soul Collector could very much be in danger in this lap, in this race. Captain Rainbow Fox just starting a lap now, so let's see if he can improve. Geordie's out of the session with 1:21.72, so he won't be improving. McLeod, he is in 15th position, so he is looking for a big chunk of improvement through the first couple of sectors. Prib also looking to improve. It's actually NL Chris and Soul Collector who is at danger. Soul Collector is not going to... Oh, he may be able to get back and set another lap. So Soul Collector does have a full charge of ERS, but will be certainly under pressure. Hypersticker hasn't left the pit. So 1:19.2, he feels like that is going to be enough to get him through. So he could be under a bit of pressure here. Captain Rainbow Fox going 4 attempts quicker. That would be enough to put him all the way up into second position. This is so tight in Division 2. Maybe I should just start streaming this instead. So tight. It's crazy. Now, it's tight in both divisions, and you can see the pace difference. So 1:18.7 wouldn't have even made it you through into Q2, into Q1 on that side, and that's the fastest. Dale setting a 1:18.720. Captain Rainbow Fox coming around the final corner, and he goes up into... first, so he goes into first, so 1:18.2. So Hypersticker absolutely at risk here. And now Chris is in 10th position. Soul Collector in 11th. Pallinut is not going to be improving his time. MacLeod also not improving his time. Prib coming into the pits. So it's only Soul Collector who can improve here. And he is going faster through the first sector. Going to try and use his teammate of McLeod for a little bit of a tow. Good teamwork from those drivers. And that is 3 attempts gained through the middle sector for Soul Collector here. So Soul Collector looking to push NL Chris, the Aston Martin driver, out of Q2 for Division 2. We will jump back over to the final moments of qualifying in Division 1 very, very shortly. But Soul Collector coming around the final corner. Does he push NL Chris down? Where does Soul Collector put his time up to? It's a 1:18.481. That's up to second position. NL Chris knocked out of the session. The Hypersticker going through by the skin of his teeth. Pallinut in 12th. McLeod in 14th. Prib in 14th. McLeod was in 13th. Geordie in 15th. So back over to Division 1 we go for the race here. For the final moments of qualifying, if I could get my words out. And who is already out there on a lap? I think Keji has just started a lap. I think the Williams of Temp has just started a lap. So I think Temp is the first car out there on a lap. I don't think OS Degrees and Gaz MC are on laps. So Alpha Integral. So we'll keep an eye out on Temp and try and keep an eye out on all the cars. Through the first sector, Temp goes and he improves by 0.2 of a second through the first sector. So good time found through the first sector for him. That would already be enough to put him up into 4th position. If no one else improves through the session, I think a lot of his lap time is going to come here. And Simpendao has stayed in the pits. Simpendao has just done 1 run of qualifying and will not be contesting for another lap. So he's currently sitting on provisional pole, and is just trying to play a bit of mind games with Rain, his championship challenger, and doing a bit of a Sebastian Vettel Singapore 2012 where he was set the fastest time while sitting in the pits. So we'll see what happens. But Temp through that middle sector in 7th to 1:8.2. Who's just gone a little bit faster. I think someone has just improved there. I think it could be Alpha Integral who's gone up into 3rd position. So decent time from him. But we'll see. Comes around the final corner. Temp is going to improve his time, and he goes into 4th. So that pushes Keji down. Keji down into 5th place, and he isn't improving on his time. So Keji doesn't find any time here at the end of that session. And actually, I think he just got over the line to start another lap. So I think he'll be going for another flyer, making a mistake on that lap, giving himself just enough breathing room to set another lap there. It's OS Degrees coming around the final corner now. He's only slightly up through the middle 2 sectors. This won't be enough to improve himself unless he finds a big time in the final sector, and he doesn't. He doesn't improve. So next Next over the line is Struggs. Struggs, our last champion, our reigning champion, he comes over the line, only good enough for 5th position, and slowly an improvement of a 10th by him. Patrick MG, on his debut, just got through into Q2. Where can he put his car in the first division of the SRL-100 for the round 2 at the Circuit de Catalunya? Comes over the line, it's a 1:17.747, he improves, but doesn't improve his time. Fade crosses the line, he, I think, improved his time, but crucially invalidated it, so he's starting down in 7th. Keji is improving his time. Rain goes over the line, it's a 1:16.678 as Keji spins out, so he won't be improving. I think that is it. Rain takes pole by just 2/100ths of a second, and that was an absolutely tight qualifying. Rain just edging out Simpendal here. Simpendal will be buoyed by that, did not run in the final parts of qualifying. And Alfa Integral returning to bits in 3rd position, will be starting behind the Alfa Romeo and Williams. Temp is in 4th position, will be very, very happy with that time, 1:17.346. Struggs is in 5th, Keji in 6th, Fade in 7th, 8th is Patrick MG, OS Screes in 9th, and 10th for Gaz MC. Wow. Wow. Rain says nailed that. Down to down a 10th in the middle sector and came back. Is what happened to Rain, so he came back in that one, and I think we'll be very happy with himself that he managed to pull out that time. Why is Alpha Integral got the wrong number again? Alpha Integral's got the wrong number again. Alpha, put your proper number on, for flip's sake. That's why it's all messing up my telemetry stats. That's why I thought, yeah, so he's down as Cook Mangler, and the reason why Rain is down as Captain Coolwine is he's got driver number 69 on, so what can you do? Gaz MC's left the session, so he's going to need to rejoin. I think he'll have a AI start his session there, because he just misses out on that on joining, but Rain goes first. Rain, you got to put your proper number on. Rain, put your proper number on for next week, because it confuses my timing screen. And it's very, very annoying to sort out after the race. So Rain is in 1st, Simpendal in 2nd, Alpha Integral 3rd, 4th for Temp, 5th for Struggs, the reigning champion Keji down in 6th position. Both those cars DNF last time out, they'll be looking to do better. Fade in 7th, Patrick MG in 8th on his first qualifying session in Syndicate Racing. That's a good performance. 9th for OS Degrees, 10th for Gaz MC. So good stuff from our top 10 challengers here at round 2, and we'll have a quick sneak peek what's going on here. So there's 8 minutes of qualifying, and Emmy Botsa has 1:18.695. Ben's validated his time. Captain Rainbow Fox Dale's done a 1:18.52. So yes, we'll go back over to D1 and maybe drop in just a little bit later. I think we won't be able to catch the start of that, because we will have the 5-minute countdown. Of course, do not ready up. We have the 5-minute countdown and race direction. So yes. Oh, someone's readied up. Who's readied up? There we are. We have a red flag. Straight away, we have a red flag. Good stuff. Right, okay. So AJ's left the session, and we have a red flag situation. Let me see if I just can reach back in time to grab. I don't think I actually clipped any of those sessions, so I hope someone else has got those. And I don't know if we'll find out who it is, but we'll jump over to what's going on in the D2 whilst that is going on, and we can fill it up nicely. But I'll see who has actually readied up and try and update everyone as much as possible on that stream. And I think everyone has left a session, so that's at least allowed that to work. So can this restart be used as a break? It will be somewhat of a break, Rain. We'll still do the 5-minute ready up rule at the start of the session. It may be a little bit shorter, it may be like 2 or 3 minutes, but we'll still have a little bit of a ready up warning just to allow people to get setups on, etc. But you can just go take a quick break now. If you just get in the lobby and get an invite in, then I'm sure you'll be fine. And who has invited me? I'll see if when I get an invite to that session. But of course, we'll just go back over to Div 2, who are currently fighting at the moment. And in the final part of qualifying, it's Dale on pole with a 1:18.536. One Strug's brother at least doing well in one of the divisions. He's up in the first position. Act like Strug's isn't doing well. He was like down in fourth position. That's really not that bad. Right, okay. I may have the grid, AJ. If you want to jump in commentary, we can sort out the grid together for D1. And yeah. So yeah, Q1, Q3. Oh, maybe I don't actually. Ooh,
Oh, no.
maybe I do. Oh, no, I do. Hello, I do have the group, the grid. So.
Oh, okay. Voice.
The automatic telemetry has picked it up. So.
Okay, perfect.
How you doing?
Alright, man.
Thank you for the follow, Simpendale.
Right, it was a dry race, so it's staying on dry.
Right, okay. I don't know how that's not driving you mental, hearing yourself like 2 seconds later.
It is a little bit. I need to turn it down a bit.
So Simpendale saying a massive lap from rain. It was so close. I think it was close, wasn't it?
It was a good qualifying, man. It was just close all round, to be honest. I think anyone had the right to go out Q1 and 2, to be honest. No one was really safe.
Yeah, absolutely. Tempe.
But yeah, stocking laps from Simpendale Rain. Great laps.
Yeah.
Right, I need everyone to join, so I need to get all the invites out.
You need to get me to join. Thank you for follow. It's Lekay. I don't know who that is, but let me know in chat who you are, and I can thank you properly. Oh, I guess he's just invited me, AJ. So yeah, okay, we're just getting the start of the session going in. Who's on pole in D2? Do you want to know who in pole? Dale is currently sitting.
Oh, good job, Dale.
But I don't think he's actually done it yet. He's just sitting on provisional pole. So
okay.
I'll just try and get someone interesting. It's good. You can just fill with like a different league going on here. I'm the one you sent into the Shadow Realm. Oh, thank you for following Noon. I appreciate that. It's sad that I know who I sent to the Shadow Realm in a casual race.
Right, have you got the grid though, yeah?
I do have the grid.
Just need everyone to join beforehand. I'm still waiting on 4 drivers. So...
Alpha.
Okay. I've sent Alpha Integral 1. Cack Mangler's got 1. So Alpha Integral's missing. Tempe's missing. Simpendale, that's who else. Right, I've invited everyone, so they just need to join her.
Okay. I think this is qualification results. I'll send them directly to you in a DM.
Yeah, that'd be great.
If you want to read them out, if you want me to read them out while you put it in, that's fine.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, that might be easier.
Yeah.
Restarting my game because I'm not remixing invites, receiving invites.
Okay.
And obviously that means that Cuck Mangler... Do I put him above below Chonk, obviously, wouldn't it?
Cuck Mangler?
Yeah, because he's the one that read up.
Oh, yeah. I felt it could be Cuck.
Okay.
Okay. So he's the one who needs an infraction added to him for doing it. So we get Simpendale. We don't get a random formation now. We have the results of qualifying, which I can post in... I'm going to post that in league chat, and so everyone can see what the results of qualifying is at this point of time, and people can protest if they're not actually that's not the positions they were going to start in, but Cookmangler will be at the back of the grid. That's the only change from that, and let me know if that's correct or not. That's the power of this new telemetry tool, is that I can just quickly get that done. I've had to allow your comment there, Simp. Not Regriff. I have to allow your comment. He's mangled his last cook.
No more changes until Tempe's in the lobby.
Yep. So in Qual-Off Div 2 at the moment, it's Swinblaze just warming up his tyres, and let's have a quick look up and down the field who's out on a lap. I think Soul Collector is out on a lap, pushing through the first and second sectors at the moment. Oh, there's a spin by George.
Oh man, I'm ill as well, don't help.
What you got?
Illness. I don't know, bro.
Like a cold?
Yeah, something like that. Just still waiting for 10p, man. I've sent him an invite. I don't know what's going on.
So just waiting for Tempe. He's putting a message in chat. I may just do a bit of commentary on the second division.
Yeah, I'll let you do and I'll jump out off of there. I've got on the grid anyway, so...
Yeah, right, okay, sweet.
Alright, sweet, bro.
Cool, dude. Thanks for that.
Yeah,
so,
no worries.
Final moments of qualifying in Division 2. The current provisional pole is Captain Rainbow Fox. He's currently in the pits. Dale has just bumped him down. A 1:17.9 from Dale. Really, really good pace from the English driver, and that is impressive pace out there at the moment. IBN is, I would say it's the next car, but he's invalidated his lap, so he won't be improving from 8th position. A car who's had good pace here. Emibot is not improving through the first and second sectors here in Div 2, and Rigo saying Temp did it on purpose to mess with the non-Americans. Fair enough. Emibot coming around the final corner here. Where does he put his car up to? Is it going to be enough for an improvement? He does improve, but doesn't improve his placing. Swinblaze does improve his placing up into 7th position for him. George is going through the middle sector. He's a 10th up through the middle sector. Can he potentially knock down his teammate off provisional pole? He'd have to find 4 attempts through the final sector. It looks like decent pace from George here as he comes around the final corner. Ferrari could be on for double front row in this grid. Is it going to be quick enough to do that? And it's, so close. 3rd position for George. DeSargo not improving through the first and second sector. Soul Collector coming into the pits. Hypersticker also coming into the pits. Dale has took pole position in the Division 2. So good lap from him. So excellent stuff from him, really. So good stuff. We do have the lobby in place here. So let's just have a look. Keep an eye out on what's going on in D1 and D2, and we'll try to bring you up as much coverage of the 2 events as is seemingly possible. And I'm in spectator mode. That's good. Just wanted to make sure I was in spectator mode there. And yes. Yeah, crikey. So what's going on at the moment? We had a red flag at the start of qualifying in Division 2. That delayed things. So we did get the 3 rounds of qualifying done in Div 1 before Div 2, but now there has been a red flag in that one because of the thank you very much, Ded. Because of a ready up rule infringement from Cookmangler, his first time out. Not surprising that he gets it wrong, to be honest. And I think you only have that once. If you are watching Div 2, if you're taking part in the Division 2 lobby, just a reminder, the race director says that it will be 21:13 when that round begins. So D2 readying up at 21:13. And what time is the latest it starts? So it's not really the latest it starts, Fence, but it is, if you go through the red flag rule, if it gets too late, we may opt to change it around. But I think we should still be able to get 100% here. It goes up to 11 o'clock basic, 11 o'clock, and then we red flag the session, do one more lap, and do we take points based on how far we've gone, is the general rule of thumb. Hopefully there's no ready up rule infractions going on here, and yes, right. I may just take a quick breather. I hope D2 doesn't ready up. Do not ready up in D2. I think it's 13 past the hour that you are meant to be going. And let's just see. Yeah, I may even just take the quickest break whilst Div 1 is reformed. And yes, might as well take this moment to have a quick break. BRB. Hello, how's it going? Look at my nice new mug. There you go. Look, it's got all of the. What I want to tell you is what season do you think this is from? Like you got just ignore Britain there because that's Donington Park, not Silverstone. What season do you think that's from? I got that as a present from some good friends of mine who know how much I'm into Formula One and the commentating and all that stuff. So we've got South Korea on there, which narrows it down to 2010 to 2012. Or did they race in 2013? I don't think they did. Spain, Great Britain, but it's Donington Park, and they haven't raced there since the 90s. So I think whoever's put this together has searched British GP and got the Donington Park GP circuit, which isn't quite correct. China, Monaco, Hockenheim. Now that is an interesting one. So Hockenheim means that it could only be 2010 or 2012. Because 2011 they run Nürburgring, so in 2013. So Bahrain, unless they just got it wrong, they could have got it wrong. Bahrain, Turkey. So Turkey was on the calendar until 2011, I think. Maybe 2012. Now I think 2011 is when it went off the calendar, so it can't be 2013. And Japan, Suzuka. That's fine. That was on from 2009 onwards. Australia, Brazil, Belgium, Spa-Francorchamps, Malaysia, so that went off for 2017, so it can't be any later than that. Valencia, there's an interesting one. Valencia, the circuit that I don't even think around the Docklands have shrouded in lots of controversy. I think I'm going to guess 2010. Must be 2012 though, right? Must be 2012 because I feel like Turkey wasn't on the grid in 2012. The reason why I say it can't be 2010 though is because the Bahrain track isn't the right configuration for 2010. So when is this mystery year? I don't know. Yeah. So anyway, that's to everyone else. That's like, oh, it's a really cool mug. It's got loads of tracks on. To me, it's like, what year is this from? You could check the copyright from the bottom, but the copyright on the bottom says 2022. So this is still being produced this year. So yeah. But it's a nice mug, isn't it, with all the tracks, and it's got like a matching coaster as well, which is nice. So. You can get that from our merch website, syndicate.racing.cock. And go on there and download the .exes. Don't do that. Don't actually buy that domain and make that a .exes. I don't think the .cock TLD exists, truth be told. That's some of Nathan Barley. So you have, actually, it will be lights out in Div 2. before Div 1. So we'll keep an eye out on Div 2 here and just keep it in the picture-in-picture view and have a quick roundup who is going to start where in this session. We actually do see some ready-ups going on in the Div 1 session, but we'll keep an eye out in this session and go to studio mode so I can see a bit better. Let's get the telemetry enabled and have a look at whose tyres are starting where. This is the Division 2 session that I'm keeping an eye on here, and I will keep an eye out on when Div 1 gets going soon, hopefully within the next 5 minutes or so. Dale took pole position. He'll be starting on mediums. Captain Rainbow Fox in second, going aggressive on a pair of softs. Those were like in the last 10 laps or so. Very surprising choice from Rainbow Fox. George on a pair of mediums. He is the second Ferrari, starting behind his teammate. Can he help him out? Attack Fox into turn 1. Help Dale defend from the other cars behind. DeSago in 4th. Soul Collector in 5th. Emubot in 6th. Swimblaze in 7th. Hypersticker in 8th. IBN in 9th. Alex Trent G in 10th. NL Chris. So IBN and Alex Trent G, they're looking to do one stop, hard to mediums, and they will suffer at the start of this race. But hopefully safety cars will bring them back into it. That's what they'll feel. NL Chris in 11th, 12th for Palina. McLeod 13th position. Priv 14th position in the Alfa Romeo. Geordie in 15th. Mr. Bolbagri in 16th, 17th for Rugriff, and Wool 1, 2, 3 rounding out the grid. 18th position, softs for him, softs for Mr. Bolbagri, softs for Hypersticker, softs for Tesago, softs for Captain Rainbow Fox in second position. We'll go on board. Let's go big screen for the start of this session, and let's see what the camera angle we get. It's going to be awful. It's going to be like this, isn't it? This is going to be the camera angle, isn't it? My face when camera angle is awful. Man, what are they going on? Okay, so we'll have to look at a view from DeSago here. Actually, DeSago's missed his mark, so he'll be pushed back a little bit here. We'll have a view from George, and let's see what he can do into turn 1. Can he go and attack Captain Rainbow Fox and stop his teammate from attacking? We'll have the beginning of Division 2. 1 light, 2 lights, 3 lights, 4 lights, 5. And the Syndicate Racing for Division 2 in Catalonia. And it's a decent start by Captain Rainbow Fox. He's going to do one challenging down into turn 1. They go 2 wide down into turn 1, and it's actually Dale who may be losing out into turn 1 here. Captain Rainbow Fox puts it into first place. Around turns 2 and 3 they go. It looks all clean from the field. Good racing up and down the field. There does look like there's been the yellow flag. IBM on those hards, suffering and going backwards. So it's a good start from Captain Rainbow Fox. He takes the lead of this Division 2 race. And I believe it won't be too long until Division 1 starts. And it's frenetic stuff up and down the field. Dale in second, DeSago in third. Don't forget to put your setups on if you are part of that D1 lobby. Do not forget to put your setups on. You've been warned. And also, there's a ready up rule infraction stuff. Don't do that. DeSago in second position. He's worked his way up here. And actually, Dale has gone back further. George, who started in third position, has fallen all the way down to 7th. So not a great start from the Ferrari team. Hypersticker challenging Soul Collector down into T10. I think he's gone deep, and Soul Collector scythed back through. Those soft tyres performing well at the start of this Grand Prix for D2. So that is the power of having 2 streams at once. The power. Yeah, anyway. An interesting start there. Those soft tyres running well. I wonder if anyone in Div 1 will look at those soft tyres and see how well it worked. Actually, Dale looking to make a move on those medium tyres on Captain Rainbow Fox. I think... Captain Rainbow Fox. Where is Captain Rainbow Fox? Has he binned it? Where is he? He must have spun. Captain Rainbow Fox falling down the field. He's coming to the pits. I think he's had a bit of a wing damage, or maybe seeing that safety car, because I think there is a safety car out, or at least a VSC out, deciding to do something a bit alternate and get off of those soft tyres. So that's an interesting one. It looks like it's just a tyre change, and maybe just not feeling those tyres and thinking maybe this will get rid of a safety car. It hasn't been, so not great for him, but we'll leave that there and we'll go and focus on D1 here. So we'll have the start of the Division 1 race very soon. Let's have a quick look at when the race director has decided. Well, AJ has said 21:19 will be when this session gets away. So just a minute's time until we can look and focus on the formation lap here for Division 1. And of course, a quick reminder of the lineup. Of course, it was rain on pole with just 13 thousandths of a second splitting the two. Simpendal down in second position. The Alpine driver will be looking to fight and be feisty in this race. His Tango in third, Tempe in fourth, and Struggs in fifth position. We've got the start of the race coming up here for D1. And very, very excited for this one. I'm Gareth Allen. If you don't follow us already, please do. If you're new to watching along, if you're watching along and you've not watched any of our streams before, please do drop us a follow and come and join our Discord. You can find it in the About section somewhere. I think you can. And thank you very much for following on board. We have the formation lap for Division 1. Coming up right now, let's have a look at the tyres that the different drivers are going through. I'm holding my controller for Division 2, so I need to switch quickly to Division 1. And Rain is on a set of hards. He'll be starting in first on that hard tyre. Simpendal has gone on to the mediums. A very, very different outlook. Very different outlook to Div 2. This is really interesting. I think 3 or 2 cars maybe went on hards in Div 2. Only 4 cars have gone on mediums and 1 on softs. I'll give you a shout out if they are mediums. Simpendal's on a pair of mediums. Alpha Integral in third position. 4th for Struggs. 5th for Kedgy. The Aston Martin of Fade. Runner up last year in Division 2. He is in 6th position on a pair of hards. Patrick MG on a pair of softs. Expect him to do something special over these opening laps of the Division 1. We have 66 laps here coming up. And Div 2 seemed like the midfield decided to all pack up at the final chicane. Right, okay, that's park up at the final chicane. Right, okay, is that why you fell out of the race then? And that's what's called a safety car. Gaz MC in 9th position. Captain Coolwine at 10th. High on money, Gibby on tour. He's in 11th. He's on a pair of medium tyres. Matusas in 12 hards. HS Inden 13th. 14th for Fence. 15th for Blubber Bump. 16th for Dead in the Pool. Chonk on a pair of mediums and Cook way at the back of the grid, demoted after the Ready Up rule infraction. Let's see how he can do in his first race here. But we're about to start the 66 laps of the Circuit de Catalunya in Barcelona, the Spanish Grand Prix coming up for the SRL-100. Let's see Rain take his marks on the grid. And it's this view again. It's this view. Okay, I won't complain too much. Things could be worse. The drivers begin to stare, as we'll have 66 laps of the Spanish Grand Prix coming up. 3 lights, 4 lights, 5. And it's a good start, initial start from Alpha Integral, but Simpendal has a better second phase, and Simpendal already passed Rain. The traction so much greater on that medium tyre. Let's see if everyone can keep it nice and clean into turn 1. It's decent stuff here through the field, and I think actually it's Patrick MG who's gained 2 positions on that soft tyre. And there's a collision at the back. Patrick MG out on there. Patrick MG's in. HS Inden is out of the race. He'll be absolutely furious with that. Alpha Integral out of the race. The Ferrari stranded in the wall. Will we have a safety car? We have a virtual safety car deployed on track. Let's see if this is upgraded to a full safety car. That is disastrous stuff. That is a full safety car at the start of this race here. So very, very frustrating stuff for the for HS Inden, only making it 2 corners, and I think he'll feel he had a good pace to come through the pack there and has fallen dramatically down. It's Simpendal who got an absolutely electric start, and Temp has just joined the session, but I don't think he's taking part. I think he's joined too late to take part, so that's a shame for Temp, who didn't make it in time. So Temp losing position. A lot of drivers gained on this grid, of course, there, and that'll be disappointing for AJ Sinden. Let us know what happened to you in chat. Of course, feeling like they could have done something at Spain. It was Patrick MG involved in that tangle. So was Alpha Integral, and so was Captain Coolwine. Captain Coolwine actually with front wing damage at this stage of the race. So does Blubberbump. So does Fence. Fence also has front wing damage. We'll see. It's a long run into turn 1, and it looked like they were getting through cleanly, but they absolutely weren't. And it's actually Rain who comes into the pit. So Rain has pitted off of that hard tyre. So a similar strategy to last time out, taking use of the first lap safety car onto a set of medium tyres, and he falls quite a bit further down the grid. Now it's harder to overtake at a track like this, and Simpendal is on that hard tyre. He'll be going for the one stop. But he'll have to go on to hards at the end of the race. So Simpendal in first, Strugs in second, third for Fade. And Chunk saying, that was so scary. I avoided like 5 cars going across the track. Well, good, well done there. And yeah, absolutely wild stuff at the start of the SRL-100 Div 1. Let's have a quick eye on Div 2 and see what's going on in this race. It's DeSago who's currently in the lead in the Division 2 lobby, and let's keep an eye out on what's going on in D1. D2, DeSago is leading by a considerable 4 seconds back to Soul Collector. That soft tyre paying off. Dale must have had an issue because he's running all the way back in 13th position. So I don't know what happened to Dale, but he is down in 13th position from pole of the Grand Prix. He'll be frustrated with that start. Swimblaze just making a move on DeSago. Actually, DeSago having a moment out of turns 3, and he has got to... He spun it, so those soft tyres overheating, and that shows exactly why those soft tyres are so naff, and he could even end up beaching himself. He just about recovered there, DeSago. That isn't going to be his finest moment. Soul Collector takes the lead of the race. Swimblaze in second, Hyperstigger in third. That's Alex Mark in the server. NL Chris in fourth. Fifth is Geordie, and George in sixth position. So that's what's going on in Division 2. Let's go back to Division 1 here, and it's Simpendal in first. Temp has left the session. He didn't manage to join in time. The only car out is the 18th position car of AJS Inder. Blubberbump coming into the pits again. Is he going to change onto the hard tyre here? Let's actually have a quick look at what tyres everyone is running, because it's been a big change. It is hard, and it's a front wing change for Blubberbump. So I think the safety car will be in this lap. Alpha Integral has also retired from the session in the pits here, so he won't be resuming the race, maybe carrying a bit too much damage. I can't see any being displayed on my screen, but for whatever reason he can't race. So Blubberbump in 16th. I said only a medium chance for a safety car here, but yeah, interesting to see that. Let's get back to the position change chart. It was Simpendal up 1 place, Strugs up 2, Fade up into 3rd position, 3 places gained by him. OS Degrees up 4 positions. He'll be happy with that. Gazam C's up 4 positions. Girion Tor up 5 positions. Dead in Pool up 9, rocketing up to 4. And Matusas up 8th. Cook Mangler up 9. Chonk up 7. Patrick has lost 4 positions. Rain has lost 11 after pitting from that hard tyre at the start of the race. Keji in 13th position, having to pit for repairs. Fent in 14th, hasn't gone up or down. Captain Coolwine in 15th. Blubberbump in 16th position. And I think the safety car will come in this lap. Confirmation on screen there, and we'll have resuming to racing very, very soon. But Mainlander in the safety car will drive off and head into the pits. That means that Simpendal is in control of the pace here for this Division 1 race, round 2 of the SRL-100. And we'll have more than 3 or 4 corners of racing. That's all we've had so far. Simpendal needs to have one clear, concise return to racing. Always like to ride on board to make sure there's no funny business, and we'll get the telemetry and the timings on. There we are. He releases the throttle, steps on it, and it's a good start. Actually, Fade and Strugs both caught out a little bit by that. OS Degrees is the closest one to attack. Down into turn 1. There's a moment. Actually, it's Dead in the Pool who made all those places, having a moment out the final corner and getting a bit caught out. OS Degrees going defensive. Gaz MC's absolutely sent one, and there's contact between the two. Gaz MC recovers. Girion Tor is facing the wrong way after crashing. I think he had to react to OS Degrees and Gaz MC's contact, and that reaction just gave him a bit of a sympathy spin, and that is absolutely painful for Geary on tour and Dead in the Pool in this race. OS Degrees is in 4th position and defending from Gaz MC at the line there. Gaz MC used a lot of deployment to get alongside. There was a little bit of contact. I feel OS Degrees left space. Gaz MC went a little bit deep, and that's what caused the contact. We'll have to watch that one again though. Oh, and there's a car going off at the back. It's Matusas out of turn 8. He has spun the car, and that is lots of positions lost for him on that hard tyre, and he waits for Geary on tour to get by, but that is disastrous for him. Very hard, difficult traction zone. Of course, a lot of cars here on that hard tyre, Matusas being one of them, failing to get them warmed up at the restart. Struggs has dropped 2 seconds back to Simpendal on that different quality of tyre, and Simpendal will be all about getting the pace down here because he'll have to go on the hard tyre later on in the race. Maybe he'll switch to a medium compound. Rain, meanwhile, has carved through the pack and got back up into 6th position, and he is also on a medium set of tyres. So Rain in 6th position going into turn 1. He is going to go for a move on Gaz MC. Gaz MC lets him have the room, knows that he's probably got a different pace to him and backs out of it. So Gaz MC down 6th, Rain up to 5th position. And let's see if Rain can now go and attack OS Degrees. He's got 3 hard-running cars in front of him. How much time will he lose behind these cars? Will he try and make moves through the middle sector? It's a very, very tricky place to overtake. No DRS, of course, for these first 2 laps. DRS will come at the end of next lap. So I don't think they'll get it midway through this lap at least. So it will be another lap until DRS. Rain is absolutely all over the back of OS Degrees here as they come through turn 9. So difficult to follow around here. Rain is going to use a bit of ARS, so as OS Degrees to defend. OS Degrees will hug the inside line here, and they go too wide through the corner, turn 10, and it will become the inside of turn 11 and 12 for Rain, and Rain gets by through that tricky middle sector and just using the pace of the mediums to get by OS Degrees there. OS Degrees left a bit stranded. Rain, of course, has used those hards and ditched them for a pair of mediums at the start of this race, believing he has the skill to get through the traffic quite quickly, and I think he does. 1:22.072 set from Simpendal on that last lap. Let's see what kind of pace Rain is doing in 4th position. Rain is currently setting a 1:22.4 last time out, so 4 tenths slower even with the traffic was Rain, and Rain is absolutely coming for the race win here. A very, very clever strategy to ditch that hard tyre. Dutch Stewie cheering on for Simp. Fade is going to be playing a very big defensive game though on Rain, because Fade will work for his teammate. They're absolutely team players, these two, even through championship battles, so you can bet their bottom dollar they will work as hard as possible to create the best chance for each other in this race. But Rain already on the back of Fade, and Fade on those hard tyres will find it so difficult to keep the absolutely speeding car of Rain around, as he has a big moment out of 9, just about keeps it going forward in the same line. Fade gives the position to Rain there. That seems very dodgy. I don't quite understand that one, and if I'm honest, I really don't like how that position was given up. That seemed very, very dodgy to me, and Geary on tour has actually crashed out of the race. I think he's hit DNF, so he is retiring on track, but I think that will be safe enough. Matusas has had a moment at turn 12. No, it's Patrick MG who's had a moment at turn 12. So struggling on that soft compound tyre. Chose not to pit in the early stages. Just overheated. He'll need to go to the pits there. That gamble on the softs did not work. And Struggs is not really fighting Rain now. I'm very, very perplexed to why Fade let Rain by so easily. Of course, not racing, but did massively back out the throttle, and I think he could have just kept it nice and clean through the final sector and allowed Rain to pass with a little bit more ease on the straight. Of course, not teammates, so should not be working together under team order as per the Spirit of Competition code of conduct. Rain in 3rd position now, chasing Struggs down. Struggs won't hold any quarters and will hopefully defend nicely from Rain, but I think he'll know that the race isn't with him, And with the pace offset they have at the moment, it's going to be very, very difficult. Struggs just trying to open up these final set of corners, and both cars running a similar levels of ERS. Simpendal actually keeping quite a lot of ERS in reserve as it stands at the moment, and it's Struggs who's going to be under pressure down to turn 1 here, and DRS will be open for the Alfa Romeo driver, our championship leader, coming through the pack. He opens up the flap and going down the pack. Going for an attack here into turn 1. Struggs won't have too much remit to defend this one, and that's a nice and simple overtake for Rain there, using the traction he gained and the momentum gained through the final corner to build a good attack through DRS, and Rain is now attacking into turn 4, and he will be looking to close that gap at 6.1. He's gone fastest through the first sector by 10th and a half on that lap, so using DRS, let's see if he can pick up fastest lap of all here. Let's see how hard Simpendal will push to keep that gap as it is. Of course, Rain has pitted off of those hard tyres at start here. OS Degrees up past Gaz MC in the backfield and gaining 6th position here. So 6th position for and there's a full safety car. So Keji having a moment. No, it's not a full safety, it's a virtual safety car. So I think that moment there from Keji has caused a virtual safety car, and that slowed down the traffic tremendously. I'm just trying to work out why there isn't a yellow flag through the end of the middle sector and the start of the first sector, but I think that's just a glitch. Simpendal's not pitted, so he's staying out there. Rain also staying out there. Struggs staying out there. I think a lot of cars won't come to the pits. They have, of course, had the opportunity at the start to pit. Let's just go and have a quick peek at what's going on in D2, and it's a safety car. It looks like safety car restart actually in D2, and we'll keep an eye out on D1, but let's go and ride on board with Soul Collector, who is restarting the race as it stands, and he puts on the power out of the penultimate corner. This is D2 in the bottom left hand corner, D1 in the top, and there's a little bit of a moment out the final corner that will allow Swimblaze to attack into T1, closing. The Haas driver is going to have an opportunity to attack into T1 after a shoddy restart from Soul Collector. Soul Collector will hug the outside and try to defend from him, try and get the inside for 2, and there's just not quite enough momentum for the Haas car to get by. And now Chris will look for any scraps, but there isn't any to be found. Geordie in 4th position, 5th for George, 6th for Pallinut, and actually Pallinut on the keyboard looking to make a move up the inside of George. George will have the outside of turns 4, and that will become the inside for turn 5. Will George keep in it? I think he will. George will hug the inside outline. Ballinut will be very sporting and leave space. Dale out of the race. A crash at the back out of turn 4. Dale is out of this race from pole position. He is out of it. So that is problematic for him. I'll see if there's a full safety car for that, but I don't think there is. So there's no full safety car. Dale out of the race. We have quite a number of casualties already in D2. Let's flick back to D1. Simpendal has a gap of 6.2 seconds to the Alfa Romeo of Rain, his championship challenger, already on the early stages of this 9-race season, Season 3 of the SRL-100 D1. We ride back on board with Division 1, and Fade is in 3rd position here and has got by Struggs. So Struggs has had a moment around that virtual safety car, and Fade is now unlocked to go and set the pace. Fence on those medium tyres coming back through the pack. He's in 5th position, and I think Fence may have started on the hards too, so Fence doesn't have to run the hard tyre here. So Fence also having an optimum strategy. There is it is a bit big brain, that strategy, that hard ditch the hard medium to come back through the pack, because all these people are running around on the hard tyre and very few people actually ditch the hard tyre. So it is working for Rain, that strat, and I think it could be the case that happens. Maybe we'll have to put in some rules about actually running tyres for the correct amount of time. You can't just run them for 1 lap or something like that. If you go on the hard tyres, you have to run them for more than 1 lap, something along those lines, unless there is damage on your car that you can prove. But of course, just absolutely spitballing theoretical ideas as the race director for the SRL-100, or also commentator for it. Struggs is just within a second of his teammates, so will get DRS and maybe just use him as a DRS train. Rain sets the fastest lap of the Grand Prix there, and is building up ERS too since that VSC. So the gap is about 5.9 seconds. It's come by about 3/10 on that last lap and Simpendal is attacking through turns 3 and 4, trying to use as much of the track, put in qualifying laps. Rain, is trying to put in qualifying laps to close down that teammate, but not using the OS, so seeming to not care too much about the gap, knowing that he has a net lead of this race because, of course, he has pitted off of the hard tyre. Chonk has just made a place on Captain Coolwine through turns 4, and they're still battling too wide. The other Mercedes of Cookmangler are trying to get involved with this action. Captain Coolwine will keep it on the inside. Will Chonk try to go around the outside at turn 8? He'll try to hang his car there, but it's so difficult. Will he go for the undercut? No, he can't do the switcheroo. So out of turn 9, he'll have DRS. Will he be able to go for a move down into turn 10? All the way downhill of DRS and no ERS deployment, so not looking to make the move. Big battling, and actually Cookmangler looking to get involved but having to back out, make a little bit of corrective measures. Chonk desperately trying to get past the Williams driver who's clinging on for 8th place in this race. Both cars on medium tyres, all 3 cars on medium tyres. Rain setting another fastest lap of the race. That was a 10th.5 quicker that lap on Simpendal. So Simpendal managing to pace the gap effectively, saying they're 1 lap newer softs, so mediums. You'd expect that kind of pace offset. Truth be told, not much to pick between those 2 drivers, and Chonk looking for a move into turn 1 on the grass. That's almost Barrichello Schumacher-esque at Hungary, trying to go all the way on the inside, and I think that cost him a bit of time. Maybe would have been worth going around the outside. Captain Coolwine defending to the inside, Chonk trying to throw it up there anyway. I don't think there was enough room for him to do it, and very lucky we didn't have a 2016 turn 4 style crash between Hamilton and Rosberg, when of course he went all the way up the inside when there wasn't space to do so, and Chonk is lucky to fight another day there. I think just going for too aggressive a move. Always an elbows out driver, but trying desperately to get by the Williams car, who seems to have good straight line speed to keep the Mercedes duo behind. Down for 9th position. Gaz MC is also battling here and trying to get past OS Degrees for 6th position. Looks like OS Degrees is just beginning to struggle on that hard tyre. Of course, the hard tyre for Gaz MC as well. Gaz MC seeming to have better grip through the middle sector, but will he have the pace to close down? It's another fastest lap from Rain, and that is another 10th.5 gained over that lap. Who was that? That was Fence. He spun. Fence has spun, and he'll be falling all the way down into 9th and 10th position. So that is just desperate as Gaz MC does get by. So Gaz MC gets by on the straight, easily does it. Fence, who gained all of those positions, has spun. So that is disappointing for him. Rain, meanwhile, back at the front of the grid, will be desperately trying to claw back a bit more time on Simpendal. Or will he be desperate, actually? Because he knows that Simpendal has to pit again and has to pit onto that hard tyre. A very similar strategy being run here that was run in Jeddah. We have lap 13 of a 66 lap complete. So Fade in 3rd position, Struggs just falling out of the DRS here. I think Fade and Struggs will be happy with 3rd and 4th in this race, keeping it cool and collected between the 2 cars. Absolutely fighting at the top. We saw these cars running away with it and having a bit of pace in the season last time around, but it's Simpendal and Rain who are setting down the benchmarks lap after lap, and Rain has took about a second away from Simpendal over the last few laps, using a bit of ERS out of the final corner, and he's just a 10th off his best time there. And last time round again was just a little bit faster, 4 tenths faster on the last couple of laps there. So good stuff. OS Degrees is coming to the pits. So OS Degrees has decided enough is enough with that hard tyre and does not want to be on them anymore. He is switching to a pair of mediums. So medium tyres for OS Degrees, and OS Degrees is going to... It's an interesting strategy to ditch off those, actually. Fence is coming into the pits. He will probably go on to another set. He's going on to a pair of softs. So a bit last ditch from him. I think he'll hope for a safety car soon. He's having a front wing change, so I think he doesn't want to use his next pair of mediums. So we'll hope that softs gets him to the next medium window, but that's going to be difficult for Fence. That is the problem. If you do this hard medium strategy, you don't give yourself any wiggle room if there is damage, because if you can't get to race distance on those tyres, you're going to have to stop twice anyway. Captain Coolwine using every bit of the exit of turn 8 there to open up turn 9, so that was nice to ride on board with that. And Cookmangler has got past his teammate Chonk running in 8th position, not managed to go forward past Captain Coolwine, losing a place to Cook, but gaining a couple of positions from Fence, who spun, and OS Degrees, who has come into the pits and is under a bit of pressure from Blubberbump. As it stands, Blubberbump, of course, on warm tyres, going to be pushing down into turn 10. That's going to be too much of a gap to attack into there. So Blubberbump in 10th position. And let's see, thank you very much for the follow, Illusto. Appreciate that one. Yes, if you're part of the Discord, let me know who your name is. If you're not, you can find a link to our Discord. We have casual lobbies most nights, etc, etc. So Blubberbump pushing and trying to keep up with OS Degrees. He's on those hard tyres, 12-lap old hard tyres. OS Degrees now will have warmed up his tyres. He only pitted last lap, and he'll be looking to set good lap times here to bring himself back into this one. Currently running in 9th, and just got passed by GazMC and decided to do something else. And how is NL Chris doing in Div 2? Let's have a look. NL Chris is in 8th position in Div 2, and it's George in 6th, and Soul Collector currently leading from some plays by 1.1 seconds. Emibot is in 4th, actually right behind Geordie here. Geordie running very, very well for the McLaren team, just keeping it clean and consistent on track, and he is in 3rd position, defending from Emibot. We'll go back over to D1, which is, of course, the main coverage on this channel. And if you are a commentator, if you want to commentate, we are looking for someone to pick up D2 full-time, and we very much appreciate that. Blubberbump doing well to keep up with OS Degrees, knowing that it can build a bit of lap time if you can just draft onto him. Getting into a DRS tow around here is very much an important part of the lap time. Struggs actually very close behind his teammate seeming to struggle through this phase of the race and lose a bit of time to his teammate. I wonder if there'll be team orders there to unlock them, or if they're quite happy with the pace around them. Fade taking a very, very unorthodox line into turn 1. I think these two are fighting. I do think these two are fighting. GazMC is in 5th position. He's 5.2 seconds back. Reigns closed down the gap by about 1.5 seconds over the last few laps. So he is he's starting to get somewhere close to Simpendal. Of course, has those slightly fresher mediums and has the benefit of not having to pit onto the hard tyre later on in the race. He's used those hards. He can pit onto another pair of mediums later on. And there's a spinner. I think it's Patrick MG has spun at the back of the grid. He's in 15th position at the moment, and I think he's just been lapped to boot. So he will have a struggle here. I don't know if he's going to have the absolute pace to come back and actually fence in 14th position. Very, very close to being lapped himself. So he's gone back onto the medium tyres after ditching those softs. Patrick is pulled into the pits, gets a 5-second speeding in the pit lane penalty, and he'll be disappointed with that, just missing his marks and looking to change off of those tyres, which are overheated. And Struggs is in the DRS tone down into turn 1. He won't be making a move this lap, and neither will Blubberbump. Let's have a quick look at what's going on in D2 again. Let's see if there's anyone close there. Actually, Alex Trent has just got past Geordie, so I think Geordie has lost a few positions over those laps, and it's Emibot who's gone forwards here. Emibot is only 3.7 seconds off the race lead here. Emibot, with a good race win, could be picking up good points for his championship, and no penalties so far, which is what you want to see. Geordie actually going into pits, so maybe having a bit of damage. I'm unsure why he's pitting, but at about lap 20, that's not too unrespectable for the medium tyres to go 20 laps, so maybe looking to go get the undercut on cars around him. He's gone into the soft tyre though, so an interesting choice, and he is getting his wing changed. So car number 50 in there with damage. IBN running in 12th, 8 laps on those pair of softs, and he is going to be I'm sure pitting soon, hoping for a safety car. We've already had 6 cars out that race. Our pole sitter, Dale, out of Division 2, crashing out a few laps ago after the safety car restart. As we go back to Division 1, we have OS Degrees looking and closing that gap to Chonk a little bit by little. He'll be looking through the pit stop phase. It will be a tactical battle here. Struggs just keeping within DRS of his teammate, but Fade has used a lot less OS, and it's actually, is it Rain? I think Rain has had a moment. Rain has had a moment through turn 3. So Simpendal has the gap extended to 9.6 seconds. So those mediums starting to get to the end of their life, but this is crucial for Simpendal. If Simpendal can keep this going, then Simpendal has 9.6 seconds to defend from. Of course, he does need to go on those hards in the end, but Simpendal is a good defender, and actually Rain has sacrificed track position at a track position track, so Simpendal will get a little bit of a margin of error here, and any more mistakes from Rain, and this could be falling towards Simpendal's hands. Of course, have a long way to go here. Safety cars could come into play, etc, etc. 15 drivers are still running. 3 are out of the race. Geary on Tour, Alpha Integral and AGS Inden, who was out at turn 2. He would be very disappointed with that, and if you're watching along, I'd love to know what your view of that incident was. We'll have to maybe hear from you at the end of the race if you are around to join. Rain is now 10 seconds behind Simpendal, and Simpendal using that with a little bit of confidence to break away. Is a 5.8 seconds lost on the last lap, and Simpendal actually setting the fastest time of the Grand Prix so far, 1:21.543 last time around. So Simpendal using that moment from Rain as a little bit of impetus for him, as he's very close to lapping Fence. Fence, who finished 3rd last time out, will be desperate not to get lapped, because if you get lapped and the safety car comes out, it's basically curtains for you. Simpendal's will extend his strategy for as long as possible. I'm sure Rain will also extend for as long as possible too. Rain does have the benefit of having another pair of mediums out there. Simpendal on a pair of hards. I don't know if he'd be able to go any faster than the pace he's setting at the moment, so he'll stay out on a pair of mediums and hope he doesn't spin. And Rain just trying to manage that gap a little bit more. 10 seconds, 10.2 seconds is the gap at this point of the race. Fade in 3rd position, and coming into turn 10, he has Strugs just behind still. Gaz MC has stayed a pretty consistent 5.9 seconds, and Gaz MC last time out was 3 tenths slower than Strugs ahead. So Strugs using the DRS of his teammate nicely, and some good teamwork from the Aston Martin team. Captain Coolwine in 6th position, masterfully defending from Chonk early on in the race. Cook Mangala in 7th, Chonk in 8th. OS Degrees closed down that gap by about 2 seconds using the fresh mediums. I think he'd have hoped for more pace out of that medium tyre. Winner of the SRL-100 Season 1 race in Spain. I think it must have been race 7 or 8 maybe in the championship. It was way back the weekend of May the 21st. I know that. Maybe it was May the 22nd that we raced back there. Of course, around the old configuration of the Spanish Grand Prix. And this is the first time we are racing around this reconfigured track. And some good news. They are getting rid of the chicane at the end of the final sector. They are reopening up and reprofiling turns 13 to be similar to how it was back in 2006 and prior to that, because safety technology has improved. The safer barrier they can now install at turn 1 is sufficient to protect the drivers from catastrophic injury and fatal injury. Then they didn't have that technology 15 or so years ago, so they changed to this newer configuration to that, which just slows down the top speeds at turn 1 a little bit, because you don't carry the speed out of turn 12 all the way down to turn 1. So that is good news. I think it will be very interesting to see how cars can follow through that final sector. It's going to have almost kind of SRL vibes, in fairness to how you push around those final corners. And there's certainly SRL is an older track that they used to race around, and I think that will be good. Rain in 2nd position, Fade in 3rd, 4th is Strugs. Gaz is in 5th position. Strugs closer to Fade this time around, but I think that's just ebb and flow between the two. Neither car trying to battle. Keji currently running down in 12th position and looking to put a bit of pressure on Denenpool in the Haas. Will Keji be able to get by this time out? Denenpool has a significantly less charge of ERS. Denenpool already going defensive, taking a little bit of a defensive line. No, he'll open it up the corner, let Keji cycle up the inside, and I think that's going to be job done into turn 1, and Cook Manlinger picks up a 3-second time penalty, and that is Patrick MG who's spinning again, and I think they are maybe thinking, how do I retire from this session? Stopping on track to let cars go through. He certainly looked like he was absolutely done, the way he was throwing it more into the gravel, almost being lapped by his teammate, and there we are, he has DNF'd from the race there, the McLaren driver. So an unfortunate first race for him. Hopefully more luck for him next time out at Imola. Simpendal in second position has come into the pit. So he's coming to the pits from the lead of the race. So that's crucial. Rain F1 now has the gap to the other cars. Will he lose pace to Fade? No, he has to. That was perfectly timed from Simpendal. He found out when he could pit and get out in front of third position, so he won't be slowed down there. He goes onto the hard tyre. Let's see if he can bring that gap down on that hard tyre, what his lap times are like on the hard. But Rain takes the lead of the race for the first time since lap 1 when he pitted off of those hard tyres, and actually he lost the lead off the line to Simpendal, who started on the mediums. Fade is going to be going very racy with Simpendal, try and put a bit of pressure on, but I think Fade will recognise that his fight isn't with him. If he can just stay within the DRS toe and bring himself back into it, that would be enough. Fade is going to get the DRS through the middle sector. Will he be able to cling on through the final sector? Simpendal's tyres will be warmed up now, so he'll be able to push through here. Fade on 21 lap old hards will find it very, very difficult to do so, but it will be absolutely crucial if he can stay in the toe of the car ahead for a few laps. That will give both him and his teammate a considerable bit of lap time, just being able to stay in the DRS toe. And coming around the final corner, he is within 8 tenths, so he'll get the DRS this time around. He'll close down the gap, but it's already grown to over a second, so I think Fade won't have grand visions of keeping that for much longer than he needs to, because it will grow out of 1 second again. It goes to 7 tenths there, so goes to 7 tenths, but through the first set of corners he'll lose mass amounts of track times, and by that middle DRS sector Simpendal will be out of sight. So Fade won't push too hard to stay within the DRS here, because otherwise he'll be going over the limit of what he feels he is capable of. Simpendal looking to close down on Rain F1. He's actually lost about a second over that last lap, of course pitting onto those hard tyres. He lost a lot more than that, but after leaving the pits he lost about a second, so struggling for pace on that hard tyre in the initial phase. But of course Rain won't have to put onto another pair of hards, because he started on hards and went onto mediums, and that was his strategy, very much the same as it was in Jeddah. So a winning strategy for him at Jeddah. Of course he did switch onto the softs at the end because of the fortuitous timing of the safety car for him, and Simpendal went on the mediums, so had that extra set of mediums and went longer, and I think another couple of extra laps longer he would have had actually the position to fight Rain, and it would have been very difficult for him to defend. Rain actually extending that gap last time out, so Simpendal on that lap setting a 1:21.640. That's 2 tenths slower than Rain. So PMG said, I had to retire, couldn't manage tyre pressures and constant overheating and spinning. Sorry to hear that, dude. Yeah, it's a tricky one. Yeah, this track is awful for tyre pressures. So we have a full safety car. Who was to bring that out? Okay, that is very interesting. I expect Simpendal to pit. From Rain to pit from the lead of the race. Simpendal, it'd be interesting if Simpendal chose to pit here. I don't think he has the option to. I don't think mediums would go to the end of the race. Rain, he could go on a pair of mediums, but would they get to the end of the race? Maybe, is my answer. Maybe, but then he'd have to pit again. And then would he have built the gap to Simpendal? Simpendal only just built the gap to the Aston Martin drivers. Rain coming through the end of the middle sector. We already have a number of cars coming into pits. 11th for Blubberbump, 12th for Keji. I think Captain Coolwine picked up front wing damage, so I think he may have been the car who pulled out, caused that there, because he's dropped a couple of positions, so clearing up debris from the track. And Rain doesn't pit out the final corner. So he does pit. So this is going to be interesting. Is he going to go onto the hard tyre? Is he going to go onto the medium tyre? I am very interested to see what strategy he's going to take here. And of course he has the hard tyre to go back onto, because he did use it for a lap. And it will be very much even between the two. So he is going onto the hard tyre, and he'll lose position to Simpendal, but both of the Aston Martin cars pit and feel they've got the space to pit. Gaz MC coming into the pits too, so he's also pitting. Cook, Mangler, Chonk, Captain Coolwine, expect them all to pits and come onto the hard tyre, and we'll see there. Fade actually going onto the mediums, so they'll be doing medium. Struggs will have been delayed by that, but I don't think Gaz MC is yet to pit, and Struggs gets out ahead either way. So Struggs it still maintains 4th position, and it will be interesting here. These two will finally be on the same strategy and the same set of tyres, and Simpendal maybe has slightly older tyres. Ooh, actually, Rain may actually have... No. So they're very similar age hards, let's say that. Rain has run those before, so I think he ran those at the start of the race, and he was maybe looking to extend his medium for a little bit longer. And what happened at the start? All I could see was a collision, really. You, AJ, and Alpha Integral all seemed to be involved, but yeah, car span in front of me and he couldn't avoid him. Yeah, so I actually said you were gaining a few positions on those soft tyres, and then immediately you were involved with that collision. But that's all I could say actually happened there. So Gaz MC in 5th, OS Degrees in 6th, Cook and Jonk in 7th and 8th, 9th and 10th are dead, and Captain Coolwine in 9th and 10th are dead. 9th and 10th are dead and Captain Coolwine. 11th is Blubber Bump. 12th is Fence. 13th is Keji and Matusas in 14th. I think they are all on the racing lap here. So let's go and have a peek at what's going on at D2. And I'll quickly wiggle my my thing. So I lost my wing and so yeah, you're the reason of the safety car. That makes sense, Coolwine. I think I could correctly guess that one, and you've lost a wing twice now. So in D2 we have George in the lead of the race, and George in the lead of the race, Alex Trent G in the 2nd position. I think both of these cars yet to pit. A really tremendous stint from George on those mediums, both yet to pit. Captain Rainbow Fox running slightly behind. Let's see what penalties he has. 5-second penalty, 5-second penalty. So those must be, they are clearable under pits at least for Captain Rainbow Fox and Sol. I think Sol has pitted from the lead a couple of laps ago by the looks of it. Everybot in 5th position. Geordie is in 6th. NL Chris in 7th. 8th is Swinblaze. 9th is Pallinut. IBN in 10th. 11th is Rugriff. Mr. Ballbaggery coming into the pits. 20 laps done on a pair of medium tyres here. And 13th for DeSago. George is in 1st position here. Tremendous stint actually on that medium tyre, and if you can take it very, very long, then you can kind of go hang for a safety car. Even maybe, I think hards can actually, you can actually do a hard to soft strategy. It's painful, but you could do it. It is possible. I've seen it done, is what I'm saying. So Chonk saying me and Mangled have committed to 2 stoppers. You've mangled his name there, mate. So good stuff here from Emibot is in 5th position on a pair of hards. He could be running to the end. Oh, he just picks up a 3-second time penalty. As I ride on board with him there. So he does pick up a 3-second time penalty too. He's been looking to avoid those. But yeah, that's it is. Anyway, I think we have racing about to resume back in D1, and let's just throw that over there. We do have racing about to resume. The safety car is coming in. It will be Simpendal from Rain for the first proper time since lap 1, but they were both on different compounds of tyres then. They are both on hard tyres, very similar age, maybe slight advantage to Rain there, but we'll see the true pace of these two. When does Rain release it? Rain releases it now. A very good restart from Rain. Actually, Fade will be able to put pressure on Rain here, and down into T1. He gets a good bit of a tow, pulls out. Rain not opting to use ERS here and pulling a bit of a gap actually, losing 2 positions to Fade and Strug. So big games from the Aston Martin team there. Big games. And that is massive for Simpendal's chances, because now he's got that car of Rain behind him. When they were on similar age tyres earlier on in the race, it was only just faster pace from Rain throughout that stint. So Rain also made a mistake on that stint, and now he's trapped behind these Aston Martin boys who are on the medium tyre. So those medium tyre runners will be looking to chase down Simpendal too and go put the pressure on. But Simpendal showing his extreme pace on that hard tyre, and I think Rain will be frustrated he maybe let both of those cars by, because Rain maybe thought, well, they're on a pair of mediums, there's a spinner, it's OS Degrees, he goes off at the back of the track, it's OS Degrees spinning out of turn 8, that'll be disappointment for him. Very disappointing. Simpendal is going to be under pressure from these medium runners, you presume, but Rain has kept right up with Fade and Strugs. Gaz MC actually not too far behind our race winner from last week, Rain. Gaz, who crashed out so cruelly on the final lap of the race to lose a good point scoring position. Could have been 4th place for Gaz MC. Ended up being no points at all. He'll be looking to make moves and maybe go for a move on Rain F1 into turn 1. He has the better medium tyres, but he won't have DRS this time around. So this is going to be very difficult. I think Fade has managed to close that gap by a couple of attempts through that final sector, but he needs more than that through the final sector, because that is crucially where you gain absolute chunks on that medium tyre compared to the hard runners. Rain caught up between the Aston Martins. The Aston Martins running in 2nd and 3rd position. It'll be so difficult for those cars to go long here, and I think will definitely have to have another stop. They'll hope for a fortuitous safety car to come their way. I think they will have another set of mediums later on in the race. So, and there's another safety car. There is another safety car. It's Captain Coolwine. He's out. He causes another safety car. What happened to you there, Coolwine? A collision on the exit of 4. By the looks of it, I'm sure he'll jump in chat to let us know what happened. But we have another safety car restart, and that is I don't know who that's a good thing for. That's a good thing for someone. We'll see if anyone pits before switching over and having a quick look at the D2 action. But we're coming up. We're not even at half race distance here. Spain, it's been an absolute slog so far. We've got 55 minutes on the stopwatch, so I think we'll make it to race length here. For people interested in that red flag scenario, it's basically if we reach 11 o'clock, we'll cross the line one more time and then have the checkered flag, and then we'll take results from there. Matusas Keji coming into the pits, and it's Matusas coming into the pits, and OS Degrees looking to have made another mistake. He is coming into the pits also, so I think he'll ditch the pair of medium tyres and maybe go on to another pair of mediums, and it will be another chance for Simpendal to inflict some pain on his rivals at the next restart. Coolwine says, Jesus Christ, yes, but now into the wall, I'm done. Sorry to hear that. We have a safety car also in D2. Why do we have a safety car here? Is it because Rugriff has crashed out of the race? He's down in 13th position, DNF, so possibly so. I think he was running last time we were here, so Rugriff making a mistake in bringing out the safety car in both divisions. We have Division 1 on the right over here. Over there, there's Division 1. Below is Division 2. And we have places available in Division 1 at the moment. So if you feel you're fast enough, come and join the league, and you will have chances to prove yourself with the very best from the Syndicate. Of course, there's a space for everyone, and really what we like to see is good, clean, hard racing with each other, and that's the number one asset you can have. And you can have that and be really, really slow and painful like I am, and still be a valued member of the community. So please come by. We have casual lobbies each night. You have to get vetted to get your clean driver tag, and yeah, I think Div 1 will resume quicker here, so we'll go back to that. I think it'll be another lap, and I think they'll resume at very similar times, but I'll probably keep it out at D1. Let's just go through the order. Emilybot didn't pit that time out. He's resumed the lead of the race. George did pit last time out. He's 5 tenths behind, directly behind Emilybot at the safety car. He is on a pair of hards. Alex Trent G, he'll be looking to go forwards on a pair of mediums. He could go to the end actually, and of course this Division 2 race, which will run and finish first, and we'll make sure to try and keep an eye on that actually happening. Alex Trent G will look to go forwards. Captain Rainbow Fox also on a pair of mediums will look for a good end of the race here, and I think Alex Trent G and Rainbow Fox could certainly go and challenge for the race win here. Emilybot with that penalty. And Fent saying, my AI messed this race up so much. Where are you? 10th? Capcom said, I knew it would be Spain. Pain. Spain pain. So I think actually Div 1 is going to come in faster than Div 2. Oh, maybe actually Div 2 will come in a little bit earlier, so we'll just keep an eye out on both divisions of the SRL-100 here, and let's see if it's like which one's going to start soon. If DeSego can rejoin before the final set of corners, I think it'll be Div 2 that'll be coming in first, but I know will get the message in Div 1 very, very soon. We do have the safety car in this lap, so we'll keep an eye out on Div 2, see how this safety car goes, see if it's nice, clean restart to racing for Emibot, and see if he can keep the cars behind. We also have the safety car in this lap for Div 1, so we'll keep an eye out on Simpendal as well and make sure he's nice and smooth and returns to racing. So he looks like Emibot's going to go, and he goes right on the apex of the corner. George is going to be under a bit of pressure from Alex Trent-G here. As they go over the line, it's Alex Trent-G who's full deployment. I'm sure George is full deployment also, and George could probably do a little bit better by just staying in the toe of Emibot, but Captain Rainfox is a little bit further off here, and I think it's going to be as they were out of T2, and let's go on to D1 and switch over for the action for the restart at lap 30, going on to 31. Simpendal will try to have a good restart on the Aston Martin cars. It's not quite as good as the one that he had on Rain, but he does get the power down nicely out of the final corner. It's going to be EOS deployment from Fade here. Is Fade going to maybe try and go for a lunge? No, he realises he hasn't got the straight line speed. Strux is closing and going to try and defend from Rain, actually. I think that was just covering off the inside from Rain. AJ Sinden saying, I've just had a power cut. Right, okay, so hope the lobby doesn't fuck up. Right, okay. That's good to know, AJ. But hopefully it doesn't. Strug's in third position. Fourth is Rain. Gaz MC is in fifth. Cuckmangler in sixth. 7th is Chonk, 8th is Blowerbump, Fence is in 9th, Keji 10th, Deadpool 11th, Medusas 12th, and 13th for OS Degrees. And Simpendal will look to extend and try and get out of that DRS pocket from the cars behind. That will be absolutely crucial for his lap. And Simpendal just showing he's got so much pace out of turn 7, 8 and 9, getting 3 tenths alone on that lap. Fade actually under a bit of pressure from his teammate here, I think. And actually Rain is just caught up behind, and it's going to be difficult. That safety car's good for them because those mediums will stay alive for a little bit longer, but those hards will become the better race tyre towards the end of the race. Of course, Simpendal jumped onto these hards before a couple of safety cars ago. Rain jumped on the safety car before last after running them at the start of the race. He was going for a hard medium strategy. It didn't work out for him, and Simpendal looks to break that second toe from Fade already. Fade will use as much deployment as possible to try and stay within a second, but I think it's going to be futile as long as Simpendal can keep it nice and on the island. I think Simpendal is going to be able to break that second toe again over this lap, but he'll have to work for it and he'll have to push for it. And Fade has used a lot more ERS on that lap. Strux having a little bit of a moment. That will give it the opportunity for Rain to go around the outside and get the job done. Will Gaz MC look up the inside? He maybe thought about it, but backed out of that one. Thought it's better to live to fight another day. That's now out of turn 4 into turn 5. Oh God, I just choked. Strux is holding on to that one. No, he's not. Oh, I felt that one coming. I was nearly avoided it, but Gaz MC just managing to get by Strux there. Strux making a small mistake through turn 3. That gave a position to Rain. Now Rain will find it very, very hard to defend. We'll find it. Fade will find it hard to defend Rain here because Rain will have the DRS on the car in front, but he will have those hard tyres, so Fade will have better traction out of the final corner, which could be absolutely crucial. Simpendal has fallen and beaten that gap and pulled it out to over a second, so we have almost, yeah, so this is, after this lap it will be half of the race done. We only have another 33 laps of racing to go. I say only. That will probably take about 45 minutes. And we are looking to get very close to race distance tonight at this Spanish Grand Prix. With the delays we've had for already uploading from factions, etc. And Rain will look to get by Fade on this lap. Gaz MC is 1 seconds behind and will have to defend from Struggs. Struggs making that moment, having that moment a few laps ago, costing him a couple of positions to Rain and Gaz MC. And that is a shame for them because I think the Aston Martins are running in a very nice position. Chonk in 6th, 7th in is the debutant of Cookmangler. Bump is in 8th, Fence is in 9th, Keji is in 10th. Woo! That was a lot of commentating. So I will have a nice drink of water. Simpendal has extended the gap to 1.7 seconds. Now it will be absolutely crucial for Rain to get by this lap. It'll be crucial because he's in a fight for the race lead here. with Simpendal. We've seen he has the pace to fight with him, and it'll be really interesting to see how those two can fight with each other. It's actually Simpendal who's kept DRS back over Rain, and Rain will have to deploy and deploy and deploy and deploy. Fade is also going to deploy and try and defend from Rain here. And going into T1, Rain's not going to be quite close enough, so he's going to be 2 tenths behind, and he's going to be losing even more lap time behind Fade, unless Fade has a little bit of a wobble through turn 3, but no such sign of that, and Rain is going to have to stay and be clever about this one and maybe push through the middle sector like he has done in earlier overtakes in the lap. It's the fastest first sector of all for Struggs, 2.5 seconds faster than his best, so absolutely pushing through the first sector is Struggs and using his straight line speed, but he's fallen off the back there, and I think he did get by a Gaz MC, so Struggs up a place to Gaz MC, and that's why he's got the fastest first sector, because of the DRS. Now through the middle sector they go. Rain of course had a big wobble here not too long ago, but he is okay, and coming into the first corner he goes up the inside, and I see how hard Fade wants to fight this one. He didn't want to fight too hard early on in the race, and Fade will keep it up the inside for turn 12. Well, no, he's beaten on traction, so 2.5 seconds into the gap to Simpendal. Let's see how much Rain can push here, but Rain has less ERS by a substantial amount to get past Simpendal, and of course Fade will have an opportunity to attack out the final corner. No, actually a bit of a mistake. That may leaving open to the clutches of his teammate here. Struggs will come over the line and set the fastest lap of the Grand Prix at 1:29.05, and he has the pace to match Rain on that last lap. Of course Rain caught up behind his teammate, and Fade was desperate to get by Rain there, a bit too eager on the power out of the chicane. That gave him a wobble, and he did manage to correct himself and not lose a position, but he didn't gain a position that we like. Running wide through turn 3 into Repsol he goes. He's a tenth and a half quicker through the first sector, but a very, very tight line from there. That's a very interesting line, very unorthodox in my opinion. Struggs is going to be very close behind Fade, and I think Struggs will maybe sense a little bit of weakness from his teammate and hope to get by soon enough. So it's 3rd and 4th for the Aston Martin team as it stands. Rain in 2nd position, 2.5 seconds is the gap to Simpendal and Rain. Both cars using a bit of ERS on that last lap, so both cars sensing a bit of danger from one another. So interesting stuff that Rain is pushing here to get onto Simpendal. I think he senses the danger from the Dutch driver. Rain, the Polish driver, looking to go quickly here and extend his gap at the summit of the table. Of course, as they stand, Simpendal would not take the championship lead thanks to Rain's fastest lap at Jeddah. It'll be 1 point between the two after 2 rounds, but we've got a long way to go, just under halfway distance here in the SRL-100 Division 1. Let's pop over and see what Blubberbump's doing. Blubberbump actually being attacked into turn 1. There's contact. Oh, it's Chonk involved with the contact there, I think. And there's contact into turn 1 between Blubber and Chonk. They both get back racing along the way. Matusa sives through, and I wonder if either car has picked up any damage. Chonk looking to go for a place on Blubber. Blubberbump feeling that he may be to fault there and giving the place back, or not quite sure. But Blubberbump and Chonk, neither car seems to have damage at this point of the race. And it's good stuff. Denenpool in 13th. Simpendal in 1st. The gap, 2.7 seconds, is actually extended it over that last lap or so. And the RS usage is the same. So these are encouraging signs for the Dutch driver to take his first win in the SRL-100. Of course, won the final round of the SRL-50 last season in that mini-season at Abu Dhabi. So showing his pace in that league. Alex Trent G is, meanwhile, in D2. Is in the lead of this race, so he's got by Emibot and Soul Collector using those medium tyres nicely. Fox struggling to carve through the back like Alex Trent G has, and Emibot actually clinging on to the back end of Alex Trent G here. So good stuff from these two drivers. I think Alex Trent G's only just got by. Emibot has that 5-second penalty. So if Alex can keep all the cars behind and not get a penalty, he's won this one. There's roughly 24 laps of racing to go there. Back to D1 we go. Simpendal is in the lead of this race. 2.7 is the gap to Rain F1. Both cars looking to try and save a little bit of ERS on one another. Fade in third position. He is going to be trying to close down on Rain, but even though he's on that medium tyre, he should have greater pace, just not having it compared to those top two. Those top two drivers are absolutely going to take it to one another this year. It's going to be interesting to see them push each other all the way. Struggs in fourth position. Gaz fallen a little bit farther behind in fifth. Cook is in sixth. Fence is just within the DRS window of the sixth place Mercedes driver, and on the exit of turns 10 and 11, a little bit sketchy for Cook. Let's see what kind of pressure Fence can put on the Mercedes driver here. Of course, finished third last time out in Jeddah. He would have hoped for better, but said earlier on that his AI has messed up his race so much, and that is the downside of going in AI. OS Degrees in 8th position, Keji in 9th, Chonk in 10th, 11th for Matusas, 12th for Blubberbump Dedenpool in 13th, the last of 13 runners in this race, 38 laps in, going on to the 38th lap even. Are we in the SRL-100? The gap coming down by about 2 tenths. It's absolutely two cars pushing it to the limit here, and Simpendal doing the clever thing and just keeping a little bit of ERS back. I think Rain's also trying to charge a little bit of ERS too. So Rain, knowing that his competitor has that ERS gap, probably has that knowledge being fed into him somewhere, he will be pushing massively. Struggs and Fade sitting as they are throughout the whole race. I'm going to be very interested to speak to them after the race. Of course, we have post-race interviews in the chat if you can join, and it'll be interesting to see what happens over the course of this race. I need to stop saying that. Gaz MC is in 5th, 6th for Cook, Fence in 7th, 8th is OS Degrees. So Fence has closed down about 4 tenths over the last few laps there. So I think this could be an opportunity for the Polish driver to get past the debutant in our league. Fastest laps traded at the top. It was only half a tenth gained over that last lap. Both cars setting fastest laps of the Grand Prix here on lap 38 of the Grand Prix. Rain currently sitting with fastest with a 128 flat. Fence is in 7th and close to Cook, but just doesn't have the straight line speed, and of course on older medium tyres as well. So Cook able to hold on to this one. Chonk and Cook both committed to the 2-stop strategy, so a safety car later on will come and help them, they believe, and they'll see if that works out for them. I think Fade and Struggs will also look to pit onto the medium tyre if a safety car comes out now. I think everyone would go onto the medium tyre right now if there was another safety car. And Rain has just closed down that gap a little more over these laps. So Fence now very, very close to the back of Cook through the middle sector. Will he go for a move in down into turn 10? No, he's not quite close enough, but he's so close. If he can carry this momentum around this final part of the sector, easier said than done. He'll have an ample opportunity to overtake down the straight, but it's so hard to follow cars in this final sector, especially through this tight technical part. And it's fastest lap again, and only a handful of tenths shaved off for Rain on that one as well. So it's so close between the two. Absolute competitors. It was Rain who got the race lead from P1, but actually Fence is going for the move here, and Fence does get the move done into turn 1. So job done. Let's see if he can pull out pace on the 10-lap newer medium runner of Cook. Let's see if he can actually pull out the pace and how much he was being slowed down there. Fence up into 6th position, 4.7 down on Gaz MC. Rain F1 took pole position, of course, back at the start of this race. Simpendal was second by, it's such a tight margin. I think it was like 13 thousandths of a second between the two drivers, and Simpendal using up an extra set of softs earlier on in the session, actually costing him that chance of having that second run. But Rain is very much trading blows with Simpendal here, and he's closed down the gap just little by little, and it's so crucial that Simpendal kept Rain F1 behind. But you know what, like, because the pace is so tight between them, even if Rain caught, now Rain is using ERS and Simpendal really isn't, even if Rain caught Simpendal and Simpendal actually extended a lap last time. I don't think he has enough of the pace momentum, enough offset of pace. I think it's about 9/10, a second of pace you need over the other car to get by and pass. And Fence, after doing all that work to get by, Cook Mangler has pitted. So, Cook has gone into the pits. So, gone into the gravel actually there. So I wonder if there was an incident between the two drivers. And Fence now going into pits. Cook Mangler running down in 11th position, and Dead also coming into pits. 40 lap old hards for him. He'll be switching on to the medium tyre, and at least he has. He's the only one to have yet to pit. So Denderpool pitting lap 40. That was a supreme run there. Was it the only time to pit? Did he start on the mediums or did he start on the softs? Anyway, Rain F1 in second here. Third is Fade. Strugs in fourth. Gaz MC in fifth. Sixth is Keji. Seventh is OS Degrees. Chonk is eighth. Blower Bump ninth. Matusas in 10th. Cook Manglo in 11th. Fence in 12th. Dead in the Pool down in 13th position. And Honor so her medium tyres now, so we'll see what kind of pace he can subject the Haas to. And Simpendal opening up the gap even more. No. Rain F1 just closing down a little bit, and both cars feeling the need to use the EOS. And it's Gaz MC who spun out of the penultimate corner, just like Dead do just a lap ago, and he loses a handful of places. Actually, Keji has got by OS Degrees quite recently. OS Degrees will have an attempt to close down. No, he's going to be way too far off there into turn one. So OS Degrees have been passed by Keji recently, and Keji up into the top 5 of this Grand Prix for the first time, I think, today. So Keji running well here. Next up is his friend Strugs. He's 10 seconds behind, so that's going to be a big gap to close. If he's got the pace, we'll see if he can unlock the car and see if he can do that. Last time out, Keji did a 1:20.9 and Strugs did a 1:21.5. So the pace is there for him, and it's so tight. It's so tight between Rain and Simp at the top. This could go either way. An absolutely tactical, strategic battle between the two, both pushing and harrowing each other as much as possible. I'm sure sweat will be streaming down both of their faces, and down it's Fade and Strugs in third and fourth. Keji is going 10 seconds, still 10 seconds as a gap. Fifth place for Keji. OS Grease in sixth. Gaz MC seventh. There's a sector 3 yellow. It's Strugs who spun. People really struggling with that chicane. 3 laps in a row. We've seen different runners spin at that chicane. On the exit, it was Dead first time round, then Gaz, now Strugs on the 42nd lap, spinning out of there, and that's lost him a whole heap of time. The gap is now 3.6 to his teammate, 6.7 to his teammate, and only 3.6 back to the Red Bull of Keji. So Keji will come fighting here, I'm sure of it, and try to pick up good points for the Red Bull team. Currently, it would be Alfa Romeo who sit at the top of the championship. Aston Martin, yet to score any points, would be picking up a good haul here. And Red Bull picked up a couple of points last time out last week. I think they'll be looking to pick up more. Currently sitting on 10 points are the Red Bull team. It's only Keji who can score at the moment, and I think he'd be picking up 12 points if things finished as they are. No, 10 points, so it'd be 20 points for the Red Bull team if things finish as they are at the moment. This is a long race. This feels like one of the longest races ever. I don't know if it's just because there isn't much on-track action. Of course, we'll have it next season as well because we're having Spain next season. But yeah, we don't really often run Spain, and I think there's half a reason why. The racing is just so difficult here, right? It's so difficult to close. It's so difficult to overtake. OS Degrees usually 4 tenths behind. That's a clear overtaking opportunity, and he is closing. He does actually look to the inside, but he needs to get this done at the apex, and it's Keji who falls back here. So Keji will be battling with OS Degrees, and OS Degrees has got back into 5th position here. So some good long play work then from OS Degrees. It was about 4 tenths, and he only just got the move done, right? 4 tenths on the gap was the straight. DRS, you feel like you should be fast enough, but because it's so late that the DRS comes on and the speed you're going, the change in pace between the two just really isn't that much, and it's a very, very difficult track to race other cars. That Keji will of course come straight back at OS Degrees. He has a lot more EOS to burn as well. OS Degrees looking to push further up the top 5. Struggs will be happy that the cars behind are battling, because that will allow him just to focus on catching his teammate out front and maybe build a bit of momentum here. The gap has extended at the top, and you could argue that's because Rain has started to recharge a bit of ERS. 52% ERS from Rain compared to Simpindel's 71% ERS usage, so he's hovered around the same, and Rain has gained about 2.25% worth of ERS, so a tactical battle between those two. We have nearly 21 laps of racing left here, and let's just go and have a look at the picture-in-picture here, and I should just check if that's actually up. So Alex Trent D is still battling to keep Emibot behind, and this is it. So Emibot, the gap is 5/10, and he should have decent tyre life compared to the medium runner. Actually, I think George has just had a bit of a moment out of the final corner that has made him lose a bit of tension. Oh, Alex Trent G just has so much straight line speed. Emibot doesn't have a reply, basically. Doesn't have a reply, but has so much more grip through the corners. So it's absolutely that balance and counterbalance from those two. Solclex is currently sitting in third. He'd be finishing in second position if that penalty stands after the race. Let's have a quick look at what the penalties are. 3 seconds for Swinblaze, 3 seconds for Emibot, 8 seconds for NL Chris, 3 seconds for Desego, and 3 seconds for Geordie. So big penalty for NL Chris at this point. That'll be warning for corner cutting plus a 5-second speeding penalty, I presume. But yeah, absolutely difficult for Emibot to get by when he clearly doesn't have the straight line speed compared to Alex Trent G. But Alex Trent G will do everything to keep Emibot behind. Emibot has that 3-second penalty, and that could be crucial for his race win. If he gets by, he needs to build a 3-second gap, and it's about 18 laps to go in D2. So we'll switch back over to D1, and Keji's out of the race. Keji has retired from the race. He's come in, and I think he has put himself out of the race on purpose here. So Keji retiring from the race. Did he have any damage? He didn't have any damage. So interesting to know why Keji has retired from the race. That won't bring out a safety car, but Fence battling all the way down for 12th and 11th position between these two. Fence will try to go around the outside at turn 1. Will Dead try and hang it on the inside there. There's a little bit of contact between the two as they go through 2, and I think Fence gets that job done fairly enough, going around the outside, having a lot better speed and confidence through turn 1, and Fence tried to defend the inside, but it didn't quite work out. Now Rain did just set the fastest lap of the Grand Prix, but it's less than a tenth. It's less than half a tenth. Do you know what I mean? It's 5/100ths of a second he's gained. It's not even that. It's 4/100ths of a second that he's gained, and it's just not enough. It's just not enough. Simpindao, they do have similar levels of ERS now, which is good for Rain, because he can use a little bit and try and put on the pressure, but he has lost about a second and a half doing that. So however much he can deploy needs to be more than the second and a half that he can use, because otherwise it's just not going to happen. So Fade in third, 4th for Struggs, OS Degrees for 5th, is in 5th, Gaz MC in 6th, Blubberbump in 7th, 8th is Matusas, 9th is Cookmangler, 10th is Chonk, who's coming to the pits. So Chonk coming to the pits has ditched his medium tyres and is now running a pair of hards to the end here. He's gone medium hard, and I think he would have hoped for a safety car, just clipping the white line on the exit there. That's a bit careless, I would say. Dendenpool is in 12th position, and Fence looking to try and get by Chonk, who's just coming to pit on those cold tyres and does get by. So Fence now in front of Chonk for that final points paying position. Simpindao has, I think, spent a bit of ARS there to build a further gap on Rain. Dendenpool looking to go by Chonk now as well. Into turn 8. Ooh, nearly no space left by Dendenpool on Chonk now. I think he just about left enough space, but Chonk was going to try and go around a long way around the outside, and Denderpool made sure that if he did it, it would be a collision between the two, because he only left exactly the amount of space required by Denderpool, but he makes him a little bit of a mistake at turn 10, and that could cost him a position anyway, so that hard work of getting that position goes undone. Now he will have slightly better tyres compared to the hard running Chonk here, but he's losing massive amounts of time on fence because of it, and Chonk all over the place through that sector. Can Denderpool keep it nice and controlled through the final corner? He can. The gap is about 4 tenths, and Chonk doesn't have DRS to defend from Denderpool, so as they come into turn 1, Denderpool will close and close and close, but the straight line speed from Chonk is quite high, and that manages to keep Denderpool at bay for another lap, and Denderpool will now be stuck up in 12th position. Did get by Chonk, but just made a mistake at the wrong time, and not great from him. Rain has fallen down to 3.8 seconds is the gap to Simpendal. Simpendal has used a bit of that ERS over the last few laps, and actually for the first time Rain has more ERS than Simpendal, so that's going to be interesting as they come to the end of this race. But Rain is 3.7 seconds off Simpendal, and last time round it was a 120.8 for Rain and a 120.5 for Simpendal, so about 3 tenths of a second was the gap built over the last lap. Fade has managed to keep that gap to Struggs quite consistent, and Struggs has built a gap to Degrees. Degrees has got by Gaz MC. Kedji has come to the pits. He was battling with Degrees, so I don't know what happened there. You'll have to see what happened after the race, I think. But yeah, very difficult here. Shall we have some? Let's have some facts about Spain. Let's have some facts about Spain. There isn't really many. There used to be the Montjuic circuit in Barcelona, and it was the last time a woman scored a point in a championship event for the F1. Back in 1975, it was a shortened Montjuic circuit. So back in 1975 was the last time there was a point scored, and it was a top 6 finish for Lella Lombardi. Yeah, so to 2020 Spanish Grand Prix, of course, COVID affected, was the first time in the event's history that it was held in August. It was also the first time the F1 has raced in Spain since 2009 at the European Grand Prix, of course, around Valencia. I was speaking about that on my mug earlier. I think 2009 at the that Grand Prix, it was Barrichello who held off Hamilton after Jock Clear famously said Hamilton's fucked up his stop, and that gave... Oh, and it's a spin from Struggs. Struggs has spun out of turn 5. And oh, he's finding it so hard to get it on. Struggs has retired from the session too. So I wonder why he's retired from the session. Struggs didn't seem to have any damage. So just... I don't know why he's retired from the session there. It didn't seem to have any damage on his car. But, yeah, spinning there and just maybe finding it very frustrating coming off the game and down. He won't be scoring any points today, so that's 2 races in a row that he didn't score any points, and he's got so far through both times not scoring any points. Rain has just pulled that gap in just a little bit, but Simpendal has charged as well. It's a very tactical battle between those two. Fade running in 3rd position, Degrees in 4th, Gaz MC in 5th, Bump in 6th position. So Degrees could be picking up good points for the Ferrari team here. So, yes, good points from the Ferrari team could be scored as Struggs and Kedji again out of the race. I don't quite know why Struggs retired from the race. Everything I've got on my side says that he didn't seem to have any damage, and yeah, a bit frustrating for him, to say the least. Simpendal in 1st, Rain in 2nd, Fade in 3rd, Degrees in 4th, Gaz in 5th, Blower Bump in 6th, Matusas in 7th, Cook in 8th, Fence in 9th, 10th in Denderpool, Chonk in 11th position. The gap, 3.6 seconds at the top here, 3.6 seconds, and let's go over and see, let's see Division 2's stream. Let's have a look. Alex Trent G has built a 2-second gap to Emily Bott, Soul Collector in 3rd, George in 4th. George could be picking up some decent points here. Soul Collector's actually picked up a 3-second penalty along the way here, so yeah, could be decent for him. Let's have a quick look at the penalty situation. And honour retire for me. Okay, I don't know what that means. But penalties-wise, it was George who doesn't have any penalties and would be currently picking up third position. If he can push a little bit harder, he's not even that far away from second position of Emibot. So any little mistake for Emibot could be disastrous for him. And it's actually DeSago who's putting a little bit of pressure on Palynut through the middle sector, opens up the DRS and has that medium tyre on, does DeSago. And let's just see what tyre DeSago has. So he has medium compared to 20 lap old hards, but I think DeSago just struggling in the DRS zone of Palynut and not being able to make progress. Captain Rainbow Fox is on the hards. I think he's pitted away from the medium tyre actually. Captain Rainbow Fox. So interesting from him. Going back to D1, we have Fence who's got past Cook Mangler. Cook Mangler has come into the pits and is opting to go for a pair of soft tyres at the end here. And I think that may be a smart move because Den the Bull and Chonk have been battling for a while and Cook Mangler will be able to absolutely zip away from his teammate here. So a good strategic play from Cook Mangler here to go on the softs at the end. He's got to do 13 laps on the softs, which is going to be difficult. But if he could just pull off a bit of pace in these opening laps, then he should be good enough to pull away from the cars around him and maybe even close down on Fence. And then that'll be tricky to hold on to that one. Cook Mangler, of course, has that penalty. 3 seconds, I believe it is, at this point of time. It's worth having a look to gap to leader so we can have a good look up and down the field. OS Degrees could get Matusas here. So I think Matusas hasn't pitted, and I think OS Degrees also has pitted for this soft tyre, so he's going late on a pair of softs. Risky one from 4th position. Fade has actually fallen back down here. Fade has pitted as well, so Fade going on to the medium tyre has fallen behind Gaz MC. Gaz MC will try to keep Fade behind for as long as possible, and Fade is going to go up the inside at turn 4, is he? No, he's not going to have the speed or the position to do so. The gap at the top is 3.7 seconds. Simpendal running very nicely to extend the lead on Rain, but Fade is still going to try and go around the outside at turn 5. That becomes the outside for turn 8 as well, and turn 7 and 8, so that's going to be a tricky one to overtake. He falls back in line. He'll have another opportunity to attack out of turn 9. Is he close enough? He's 3 tenths. It's not quite closed down. I don't think he uses any EOS there. Gaz MC is going to find this very, very hard to defend. He's on a 28 lap old pair of medium tyres. I think his plan is to go to the end of this race, seemingly, unless he sees the writing on the wall here. Oh, Fade ever so close to the back of Gaz MC through turns 13. He had to back way out of it. This may allow Gaz MC to keep Fade behind again. I think it is that gap is going to be way too big to close into turn 1. He will have quite a lot more speed, and Gaz MC is deploying and defending and defending and defending, and if Fade was just a little bit more patient through that final sector, he would have got the job done. But actually Gaz MC goes deep at turn 1. That could give Fade the opportunity out of 3 and down into Repsol, but Fade not quite there. Fade not quite there at this stage of the race, and he's going to have to wait for another lap. It's going to feel like an eternity for him to get by, and he's absolutely fighting for 3rd position here in the race. 2 tenths is the gap. Gaz MC going very, very defensive with Fade, wanting a race. Now Fade will look to the insides at turn 7. No, he won't. Gaz MC will cover that off quite fairly, and out at turn 8 he goes. Fade is not going to have an opportunity out at turn 9. 3 tenths is the gap. Oh, a little bit too much curb for Gaz MC. Maybe that closes it down. Fade is going to close it. Go around the outside at turn 10, is he? And is he going to get this stopped inside the traffic? He does. Gaz MC falls behind. So good work from Fade there to get by Gaz MC. So up into 3rd position he goes. 29 lap old mediums for Gaz. It was only a matter of time before Fade got the job done on him, but good place to overtake nonetheless, and Gaz MC decides enough is enough. There's no way I'm getting these hotcakes to the end. Time to pit, and did he get it slowed down in time? Oh, he just does, absolutely on the nail there. Sebastian Vettel-esque at closing it down into the pit, so good job from him. Maybe it was Mark Webber actually, can't remember. One of the Red Bull drivers was better at each other at closing down the pit time, which was interesting. I think it was Sebastian Vettel. Of course, there's temps on the line every part of the track. If you can get it down to 80 as you go over the line, that is time saved massively. Gazamsi coming out of the pits now will feed out in front of Fence on those hard tyres, and I think Fence will be lucky to even cling on to 8th position. Cook has closed down the gap by 2.5 seconds over the last few laps. Rain F1 and Simpendal. Simpendal sets the fastest lap of the Grand Prix, a 1:19.637. Rain can't respond on that lap and has used a bit of DRS, but Simpendal has used a whole chunk of ERS, not DRS, a whole chunk of ERS to close down that gap. So very, very interesting stuff going on at the front. It's just a tactical battle. This is all about who is going to brake, who is going to be able to keep the car going in a straight line, who's going to, any little crack from either one. A little crack from Simpendal, that would give Rain DRS range. A little crack from Rain, that will give Simpendal just this breathing room where he can just back off and charge ERS and just allow his headspace a little bit of wiggle room if there are any small cracks and pressures. Now we've got 10 laps of this very long Grand Prix to go. We've got 18 minutes remaining before the cut-off time. I think we're going to make this in time. So, I think we've just done that. We can go and see that Matusas has got by Blubberbump because Blubberbump has gone into pits for a pair of softs. He went later than the cars around him. OS Degrees has worked itself back into 4th position. 10 seconds, 10.9 seconds is the gap to Fade. I think Matusas will try to go long on that pair of hards. I think he wants to go right to the end and do the one stop. He could be picking up 5th position here. He does have that penalty to his name. So the gap really is 4.8 seconds to him. And Strug says his car broke Fark family rules, so retired. Okay. I mean, I don't know how I could prove that. So Rain in 2nd, Simpendal in 1st, and Fade in 3rd, OS Degrees in 4th, Matusa in 5th. We only have 11 runners left of the 18 that started. Strugs, Keji, Captain Coolwine, Patrick MG, Giri on Tour, Alpha Integral, and AGS Indon all out of the running at this moment in time. And it is going to be a long race. It feels like it's the longest race, I swear. Luckily, we've had 2 divisions to spice it up a little bit. And let's go pop over to D2. I keep on popping over to the wrong stream. And we'll keep the picture on over. So how is it going in D2? Very good question, Dutch. Very good question. It's Alex Trent G who has kept the lead from Soul Collector. Well, actually, Emibot has pitted. So I think Emibot, no, he's made a mistake. So Emibot, with that penalty, has made a mistake. Let's go and just get that on there. Simpendal. Oh, Simpendal has closed up a bit. Rain has closed up a bit in that D1 battle because of blue flags. But anyway, let's go back and just have a quick look at D2. Emibot has made a mistake recently, so he's fallen down the order. It's George who's currently sitting in 2nd place on the road because of that penalty for Soul Collector. It's a 3-second penalty. If he can keep it clean, he's got every chance of taking 2nd in this Grand Prix, maybe even 1st if Alex picks up any more penalties. Alex has led for a number of laps now, and it could be Alex's first win in Division 2. Of course, we'll get all the post-race reaction from that group of drivers too, if they can join in the stream, and we'll probably have to get a bit more of the gaps filled in. But going back up to the top, it's been a 2nd that's been took out of the time in D1. So now the pressure is starting to build from Rain. Rain sensing the opportunity. I think Cook Mangler just kept out. And so freaked out, spun, and then retired. Just stupid. Fair enough, Strugs. So Fade is... Blubberbump just sets the fastest lap of the Grand Prix. That's come from nowhere. Looking for that extra point maybe in these dying moments. That's a 1:19.489. I think it's still beatable from Simpendal and Rain, even on those old hards. Simpendal on a 37 lap old set of hards and desperately trying to close in is Simpendal on this car here. Who is it? It must be the Haas of Den Nepal, who needs to get out of the way pretty soon. I should hope he would. Knowing that he's got faster cars going through, but he also knows he's in a battle with Chonk, and Den Nepal chooses the right moment to let him by. That allows Rain to close down at just a couple of attempts. This is all about managing the traffic and a little bit of the rub of the gods to allow the traffic to get out of the way nicely and in the right way. Cookmangler is quite a few seconds down the road, so it will be a few laps before Simpendal reaches them, which will be good news for him. And he's managed that traffic quite nicely, but Rain will catch up with this traffic now, and it will slow them down to boot. So Simpendal spent a number of laps getting past Chonk and Denderpool here, and Denderpool and Chonk are battling, so they are battling on merit, and it's all about being able to get out of the way at a place that is safe to do so for both drivers. Chonk recognising that is someone chasing down through the second part, and this will give DRS to Rain here, and Rain is going to have to go for an overtake. I think Denderpool just backs out of it there, but he'll try and use his slipstream as much as possible, dive back in, and I would say that Simpendal is the one who lost out through the battle there, because they got out of the way. Very nice places for Rain and very difficult places for Simpendal, so it's about 1.6 seconds lost, and this is all about cracking. But Rain has used up a substantial amount of his ERS to try and close that gap as well, and that is completely important because Simpendal has 46% ERS in his tank, and that means that Rain doesn't have much margin to attack Simpendal if he made any little small mistakes. The gap is 2.2 seconds. It's not been this low for quite a number of laps, and Rain is very much trying to turn up the wick on Simpendal, but it may just be a little bit too late because Simpendal has managed to keep back quite a substantial amount of ERS, and if he can keep the gap at 2.2 seconds, I can't see Rain getting by, and I can't even see Rain getting by if he caught up magically 2 seconds now, because the pace between these two is so similar. I think Rain may be ruining the day he went on to that hard medium strategy, because if he'd done the medium hard strategy such as Simpendal did, he would probably be right up there with Simpendal, if not in front of him. So trying to play a bit of mind games, and Rain not managing to close down here, and 2.3 seconds of gap extending on that last lap a little bit. 2 tenths faster was Rain. Actually, Rain was 2 tenths faster that last time round, but it shows how much ERS he used through that first sector, because he certainly lost a fair chunk through the final sector. 2 tenths that he lost through the final sector compared to Simpendal last time around. Let's switch back over to the action in D2. Denderpool right behind Chonk, actually going on for a move around the outside at Repsol on Chonk, and Chonk will have to defend the outside at turn 5. Denderpool does get by, but Chonk will crisscross back under. These two having a fabulous race with one another. We'll see what comes out of the stewards, and actually Dead looks to the inside at turn 8. Chonk closes that gap off, and it actually causes Dead to run very wide through there, so maybe not the best place to attack, and that will lose him a bit of time. He'll have to gain that back, and those mediums will start to wear away and rub off soon. Rain just closing down the first couple of sectors, but Simpendal not using the RS, neither is Rain, and Simpendal did build up that gap of about 2 seconds over those laps, and that was absolutely crucial to keep Rain away from the DRS. Now, we will come back to this battle very shortly, but we have the final moments of Division 2 to cover here, and it is Soul Collector who's got in front of Alex Trent G, and Alex Trent G battling into turn 1. Alex Trent G has got the move done on Soul, but this is bringing George absolutely into the fight here. George has every chance at winning this one. He's on 10 lap newer mediums. Alex Trent G trying to go very long on a pair of old mediums. George could grab a race win right at the end here. Soul Collector is the mitigating factor here because he has that penalty, so George should be finishing in second, but George is in a position to push Alex Trent G all the way if Alex Trent G if Soul Collector is overtook by George. So George will be very much hoping for a mistake here from Soul. But Soul will have the DRS behind Alex Trent G, and he goes very deep, Soul, and that's the mistake he's looking for. That was the mistake that George was looking for. George now has the bit between his teeth. He could be picking up his first race win if he can go and attack Alex Trent G in this Ferrari car, and it will be Ferrari versus McLaren down the front straight. DRS for, it's a little bit too tight through the final chicane. That will cost him a little bit of time, but he will get DRS, and he has a lot more ERS to burn too. So lap 65 of 66 in this Division 2 race. And the gap has just gone another 2 seconds in Division 1. We'll keep an eye out on that. But Division 2 is absolutely open and to play for. Soul Collector, 4 attempts down, going deep at turn 10. That allowed George through. And if George can close down the gap on this lap, there's every chance that Alex Trent G could be passed for the lead of the race on the final lap. It will be oh so cool. He's gone 32 laps on that pair of mediums, but it will be 22 laps on the pair of mediums for George. He'll have a lot better pace. He just needs to have the confidence that he can do it. He just needs to go for it. He can absolutely do it. He just needs to believe that he can close down that gap, but he doesn't seem to have done it, and he's going to have to do it very much the hard way. Use as much EOS as possible through this middle sector. He'll have a bit of DOS. That will close down the gap by about a tenth or two. But going into this final sector, this is where he hopes to close down massively on Alex Trent G on 10 lap newer mediums. George could get his race win, but it could be Alex Trent G's first race. It's completely worth remembering. It could be Alex Trent G's first race win, and he's only 4.2 kilometres or 4.6 kilometres away from actually getting it. It's going to be so tight between the two. Captain Rainbow Fox has picked up the fastest lap of the Grand Prix on the penultimate lap. He's got a maximum EOS deployment here. It's a really, really long way. EOS is not at a luxury that Alex Trent G has much of, as he's closing and closing and closing and closing. He'll look to the inside, but oh, it's so close. It will be absolutely crucial through this middle sector, first and second sectors. Can he overtake down into turn 10? That will be his final opportunity. Alex Trent G covering off the inside out of 3 and down into Repsol. There won't be an overtaking opportunity for the Scarlet Ferrari of George here, but George is so close behind the McLaren. He'll feel like another lap he'd certainly be on him, but it's going to be so hard to overtake through this middle sector. Both cars having similar levels of EOS. Actually, Alex Trent G just tried to pull every bit of the gap before the final DRS zone, and Alex Trent G having a little bit of a wobble out of 7 and 8. They're going to be so close down into turn 10. Through turn 9 they go. This Ferrari of George looks to the inside. Alex Trent G will cover the outside, and the two it's absolutely unbelievable. On the final lap, George shows Alex Trent G the outside of the corner and pushes him wide a little bit. Alex Trent G may be a little bit angry with that one, but George takes the lead of the Grand Prix on the final lap. And as he comes through the final set of corners, if he can keep this nice, neat and tidy, it'll be George's first win in the SRL-100 Division 2. It absolutely is. Meanwhile, it's actually Simpendal. Is it? No, looking at something else completely. It is a race win for George. Second for Alex Trent G, heartbreak for him. Third for Soul Collector, Swinblaze in 4th. 5th for Emibot, 6th is Pallinut, and 7th Desargo. 8th is Geordie, Mr. Borbagui in 9th, and NL Chris in 10th and 11th. So unbelievable stuff going on in Division 2 there. Let's go back to Division 1 for a second. I thought that maybe Simpendal was getting past, but it was just a Mercedes. And thank you very much for the follow I got. Appreciate that one. Look, Maldonado celebrating on top of the podium at Catalunya right there in the GIF, and I feel like it will be the same feeling for George right now. He passed Alex Trent G. We'll have to look at that one again. We will have to look at that one again in the stewards, because he looked to have pushed him just wide a little bit. And going back to this race, we have 2 laps left. Simpendal has led almost from lights to finish. It was only a mid-stage break where he pitted earlier to Rain. The way he hasn't led. He started the race in second, got past Rain on the second lap, and he can just keep this going on this lap. It could be Simpendal's first win in the SRL-100. Of course, he got the win in the SRL-50 at Abu Dhabi last season. At the end of the season, showed his pace, come into this year with all the confidence and bravado to go toe-to-toe with Rain, and the gap is 2.3 seconds. Rain will know the ghost is up. He'll hope for something absolutely unholy to get him through. The gap is massive, and Simpendal has 66% tyre life, and yeah, so 70% tyre life for Rain, I believe, so a bit higher for Rain. So it's been all about managing the pace of those tyres and the life. I don't think either car are in danger of a late puncture, but I think Simpendal has done enough here, and I think Simpendal just maybe easing off the accelerator a little bit, knowing he's got the gap to the car behind, doesn't need to have any slip-ups at the end Steven Gerrard, we will not let this slip. Let's see if he actually lets it slip through the final sector. He comes through. He's 3/10 down on his fastest. He won't care for naught about that. Let's have a quick look who has the fastest lap at the moment. It's Blubberbump with the fastest lap, and Rain is looking to close down. Actually, Rain was fastest of all through the second sector, so Rain is pushing on this final lap. Simpendal comes through, turns 14 and 15, and he has the race win, number 1 in the SRL-100. Congratulations to Simpendal, an absolutely perfectly managed race. Commiserations to Rain. He pushed Simpendal all the way to the end there. Fade is 47 seconds back from the race leaders. We had a safety car about 30 laps ago, and Fade has pitted, which explains some of the gap, but it's absolutely mesmerising speed from Simpendal and Rain. We'll have the consistency and pace charts posted in the Discord after the race, and it's been absolutely a sensational ending there in D2, and I'm sure they're all absolutely buzzing to get into the post-race interview. We will be talking to George and Alex after the race, hopefully, if they can spare a little bit of time. George getting his first win in Division 2, Simpendal getting his first win in Division 1. The gap between the two drivers will be 1 point going into Imola. The sprint race next week will have up to like 40 odd points on offer for the race. No, 40 odd points. It'll be like 33 points if you can take the race win and the fastest lap and the race win in the sprint. But Fade in third. Good job by him. Fourth, OS Degrees. A very, very good job by him. Gaz MC comes round in fifth. Crashed out on the line last time, and he will be glad to have finished the race. Sixth for Medusa, seventh for Blubberbump, who picks up fastest lap, and Fence in eighth position. Cut Mangala in ninth on his debut, scoring points, and 10th is Dead in the Pool. Chonk just missing out on the top 10 and scoring points. 12th for Strugs. Keji is in 13th. Captain Corwayne 14th, 15th for Patrick MG, 16th for Gary Ontoa, and 17th for his Tango. Oh my! What an ending! Well, I'm so glad I switched over to D2. That was crazy. Fence says I feel salty, but I guess you can't win them all. And yeah, I think Raiden will feel like that. Simpendal getting the race win. And oh wow. Okay, I will start the interviews very soon if you are interested in joining them. I just need to gather a few things for the stream before it ends. And whew. It's been a long one tonight. We're 2 minutes away from the 11-minute warning, so we did just keep it within 3 hours there. Time box. Thanks for bearing with all the ready up rules and red flags we had across both divisions, and let's just get a quick view of the standings and make sure we've got it with both the time and that. There we are, perfectly there. And then let's go over the instance, because maybe some people will want penalties removed, maybe not. We don't know. We'll keep an eye out on that. But some pretty sensational stuff in both divisions today, and we can go over to the league interviews. I will start up the stage now and get it going. And where is this? Post-race interviews. Start the stage, and R2 Barcelona, Spain. Actually, let's call it Spain. Start stage. So. Some impressive stuff, and I caught the eye of some people there, some people not. Fade came in third in D1, which is good for him, and Fade with a kind of controlled race, actually not making many mistakes throughout the race. And OS Degrees came in fourth. Let's pull in Alex Trenchy first. Let's pull in Alex Trenchy, because we saw that right at the end, and I want to see what he thinks about... Oh, he's gone. No, he's gone. No. I want to speak to him. Let's pull in OS. Hello, OS. How'd you find that race? Oh, fourth position in the end there. Do you feel happy with that result?
I'm happy with it, especially given what happened in the middle, where my teammate got involved in an incident. We were both way further down than we should have been, but and then that last pit stop, I tried to cover off Fade, and he went on the mediums and I went on the softs. And if you were here in my room when I found out he was on mediums, you would have thought someone was getting murdered the way I was screaming. I was just so upset. But bringing the prancing horse home P4, way better than I thought. But again, hoping for better in the future.
Absolutely, yeah, good stuff, good positive stuff from you, and a good starting block for Ferrari to go on there. Good points scored over the first two races. Let's move you back to the audience and get Alex Trent-G, and he finished second dramatically in the D2. We caught the final moments there. He did 32 laps on the pair of mediums, and there was a small mistake out of 7 and 8. And then a little bit of contact on the exit of 10 and 11. What's your feeling on that incident with George?
Oh, with George? That was fair play. That was just him taking the win. That's all it was.
Did you feel like you could have maybe held him behind without that little mistake out of 7 and 8?
Oh, absolutely. I think I had the pace around for like the entire lap. I just had my weak portions. But he won that fair and square. That was just racing hard and pushed me into a place where I either had to back out or accept the contact and cost us both the race.
Wow, good stuff. Good sportsmanship. And do you feel you'll be able to take this pace and form into Imola next week?
Absolutely not. Imola's not one of my tracks. I'm just hoping to be consistent and finish high again.
Well, good stuff, and we'll pull in George into the lobby to speak to him. Of course, our D2 winner. I think you can go back and watch the race, maybe, George. I was absolutely losing my mind. How did it feel in the cockpit to take your first win in the SRL-100? Can't hear you. Oh, we can now.
I was so nervous. I mean, look, I had a few. Firstly, thank you for Alex, because he was quite gracious. Like the move I made, I had to do it. And if he thinks it's fair, then I appreciate that, because I had to go there. And look, I got a bit lucky with my safety car, literally coming round sector 3, and there's a safety car, so I got to go in to go to hard, went back out again. That was tough. Like, me and Sol and Alex had a brilliant time. There was some good pace in there. I know a few people who should have been up the top crashed out fairly early through maybe their own means or not, but I'm thrilled. I'm buzzing, and good sportsmanship from Alex. I got a bit lucky with him losing. I don't know what turn it is, but obviously he lost it a little bit coming out of one of the corners on the last lap. But yeah, that was great fun. I'm buzzing. I'm so happy I managed to race back in time. I'm thrilled. So yeah, well done.
Yeah, of course, out golfing today, and a perfect way to cap it off. A race win in the SRL-100. Did you expect that going into the race?
No, because there's some very, very fast people here, and even though Alex says Imola might not be his track, the man's got a lot of pace, and his strategy worked. He just got unlucky with one safety car where I got to pit for free. The man's rapid, and he will win many, many races this year. He's awesome. So yeah, that was fun. So yeah, well done everyone.
Yeah, well, good job winning the D2 race there. I'll move you back to the audience, and I'll pull Soul Collector in to complete the top 3 in D2, and then I can move on to some D1. Just saw you go deep at turn 10 on the penultimate lap. That, of course, gave the place to George to go and attack Alex Trent-G for the race win. Did you feel like without that penalty, you made it be able to be a bit more consistent, or do you feel a penalty was even fair in the first place?
I don't know. I don't even remember how I got it. I think it was just a little moment that I lost the car into the second DRS zone and just slightly went over the line, but it wouldn't matter anyway. The two guys were just too rapid. I was just happy to hang by. At first, I had a little glimpse of hope that I could have pulled the 3 seconds from George, but all of a sudden he came and it was nothing I can do. I'm so happy to get the podium anyways.
Yeah, good points for the Mercedes team, for you and Mac. And do you feel like it could start adding to maybe a title charge for you?
I hope so. We finished 5th and 6th in Jeddah, which brought us a good haul of points. And I know when Mac's on a good day and when he's on the pace that he is extremely rapid. So I think we're first now as the constructors. If I'm not mistaken, Mac did the math quickly, but yeah, I'm definitely trying to keep this consistency. I think we can have a shot at the title. Yeah.
Yeah, good stuff from that. So look forward to seeing you race next week. Let's pull in our champion, our second in the championship now, only 1 point behind Rain, and invite Simpendal to speak and talk about his first race win in the SRL-100. Of course, we saw you win the Abu Dhabi race in the end of the SRL-50 season last time out. That was a medium to hard strategy, managing the pace, managing your tyres. Talk us through the win.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, I don't have the words. I am just unbelievable. Yeah, I've had some bad luck with the first safety car because I had a 10-second lead to Rain, so 10 seconds became 0 seconds. At the safety car restart, I did a trick to go mid corner on the throttle. He didn't expect that, so he lost a few places. Yeah, then it was all about managing the tires. At the end, I was so scared that my tire was gonna explode, but yeah, luckily it didn't.
Yeah, you're running what 66%, 67% worn medium, worn hards at the end.
Yeah, something like that. Yes.
Yeah, absolutely crazy, and missing out on pole, your first pole by 13 thousandths of a second. Did you feel like that? Did that spur you on to the victory?
Well, I still started as second, and again I got him at the start. So at the end it didn't matter. But yeah, of course I wanted that pole, but yeah, at the end it doesn't matter.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Well, congratulations, a massive win for you, and I think that sets up the title championship battle with Rain quite nicely. Of course, 1 point splits the two. How do you feel going into Imola? Can you get another win there? Maybe a sprint win too.
Well, maybe. But first, before I forget, massive thanks to Rain. Also, his pace was very good. So I hope we can keep it up together to make it the championship excited. About Imola, I don't know. Spain is a very good track for me, but I don't know how I'm gonna do at Imola. So yeah, we need to find out. Right,
good stuff. Well, we'll see you next week, of course. And I'm just trying to scan through. Is there any other stories to talk about? I've done the top 3 in the D2. I've spoken to everyone who is in. Yeah, okay. So I think I'll wrap up the coverage there. We've been on for 3 hours and 10 minutes, or 3 hours and 15 minutes, or something like that. So it's been a bit of a crazy one. Of course, we come back with Imola next week, and we'll see how the 2 championships line up next time out. So thank you very much for staying tuned, and for everyone who's followed and subscribed during the stream, really appreciate that one massively. We'll see you again at 8 p.m. next week. I've been Gareth Allen. Have a great night.